Welcome to Theme and Variation.
Oh, I'm doing the intro. Okay,
Yeah,
this is a movie podcast.
Yeah, you're doing the intro.
We're doing the intro right now. We're doing the intro. This is a podcast about movies, and there's going to be two sort of genres to the episodes.
Genres.
The main one is going to be
movies.
Just ooh.
Do you just not like that word?
I
being
didn't.
used?
I didn't connect that that's also a movie term.
It
Thanks.
is.
But yeah, the
You know what
first.
else is a movie
Jeez.
term?
Say it. What were you going to say? What
I
were you
was
going
going
to
to
say?
say film.
Fantastic.
It was completely irrelevant.
All right.
Right.
The two types of episodes that we're going to do. The main one is going to focus on the themes of movies and kind of going into what those mean. Yeah.
Theme and Variation Type 2. It's going to be
adult onset type 2 theme and variation.
Adult onset variation
Where we're going to have
episodes.
these less frequent variation episodes where we just kind of rant and, about
Talk about a movie, but in a
Yeah.
way that doesn't necessarily revolve around the theme.
more
Just
appreciative,
talk
kind of
about
free form.
Yeah.
No real structure to those episodes at all.
We talk about how buttery hot Tobey Maguire looks from the
That was
Spider-Man
mine.
movies.
You stole that from me. Yeah,
Put
but
it in
he
there.
is really buttery hot.
It's
Though.
buttery
That's right.
hot.
I can't copyright any of this really.
Buttery
Not
hot.
yet, at least. Yeah. But for the most part, we'll stick with our theme structured.
Unless
episodes.
we're doing a variation episode. in
that
which
is
we'll
when
do
we-
that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
By the way, I'm Christian,
And I'm Cole.
Michael. We totally forgot to do that.
and this
Not
is
anymore. Theme
Theme and
and variation.
Variation. That's the intro. Done. The movie we're talking
All right.
about today is Waves, directed by Trey Edward Shults.
Yeah. What kind of themes stuck out at you guys immediately after this? I know we're going to go through kind of the synopsis of the movie and talk about how each kind of scene
So-
reinforces that, but off the bat, what kind of popped out?
There were a few just kind of heavy-handed, whether it was just a conversation or like the sermon was more of like a monologue about love and such, but it didn't seem quite almost prevalent enough to be a full-on theme, but it's definitely a sub-theme.
Yeah. Well, that's what Schultz has said in interviews is
Okay.
it's pretty...
Oh yeah, you listened to some of
Yeah.
the interviews and stuff like
He-
that, right?
he
We
kinda wants
probably
it to
also
be-
should have done that.
I didn't really want to because I didn't because I just wanted to see how the movie came
Just
across
affects
just to
you
me
personally?
just
Yeah.
me personally and the things that
Okay, that's
I mean,
fine.
So and I had some time to think about it, and yeah, love was very present, and more specifically this idea of unconditional love.
Yeah, and we'll get into more of that too.
and how love survives through hardships that families go through.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Or
I know
doesn't survive through hardships.
But Schultz has said he wants this film to kind of be open to interpretation based on who you are.
Interesting.
Kind of lots of different things he put in there.
There were lots of
Yes.
there were
Oh,
lots of
absolutely. There's a
things,
ton of
so-
stuff. I think the one that popped up to me most is communication, too,
Communication, yes, and then also
and the breakdown of that
I
too.
did-
anything I had kind of a idea of a theme of was always like a paragraph. It was never just like this is a word for a theme.
It's
like-
almost I mean it's so simple, but it's like you can't really put what it's trying to say into a few words, and so you kind of do have to almost look at the many themes that you can find to get kind of this
Theme.
theme. Yeah. the word it's just it didn't really come to me. On your communication thing,
Yeah.
secrets were a huge part of the first half of the film. So how this movie is structured, it's one of my favorite movies in terms of structure because it is cyclical, and it basically mirrors itself.
Yeah. Well, especially with the opening and the ending
Yep,
scenes are
yep.
verbatim.
Well, that's the thing.
same.
I mean, it actually opens with the ending, really, basically. What did you think of that? I'm curious. Did you think that was
the ending started
in time that was
no,
the
I
ending,
think
or you think it
takes
was
place
just
completely chronological?
chronological? So
I think why that works is because it's like while she's doing the exact same activity, how much has changed by the time that we see it again.
That's actually really
Yeah,
interesting
exactly.
because
That's
that it's almost like at the beginning of the movie, it is the end of the movie in that sense, but that's like the if I was to draw out the structure of the movie,
It'd be a
It
circle.
would be either a circle. Actually, in my mind, it is more of like a wave, like that you'd see on a graph or something like that.
Interesting. You think that's why they called it that?
I don't think that's exactly why. I think it's because I think the title has more to do with the waves of life itself that that someone might go through, or that a family might go through. Struggles, the highs, the lows, and so the beginning is almost, you could say that looks like it's the beginning of this wave, this this V shape that I see. If I was to structure the movie, right, but it's the ending perhaps of a wave that came before that. Do you see what I'm saying?
I kind of do.
Yeah. I don't think that's really implied a whole lot, but there's throughout the movie you get hints of other things that happened to the family.
Yeah,
previous stuff, previous waves.
Which in the way that it's brought up, how it's no longer some issue that they're currently with, kind of shows, as well as the waves of things. It's kind of pass. Yeah, like over time, and then like something else comes in. Yeah, and I think that's kind of how a lot of the problems were relayed and brought up, whereas like some are going on now and some are just kind of like an afterthought, which I think may have been a theme of the movie as well. It's like no matter how things seem when you're going through it, like it will pass and stuff will get like to that that point.
Yeah. However, I do think that a lot of the characters are still dealing with the hurts of the stuff that isn't shown on screen too.
Yeah,
for sure.
The death of their biological mother,
which isn't mentioned, but
till like two-thirds into the movie.
Yeah, I was about to say. Well,
that when everything pops off. Yeah, we don't.
No, I agree with that, because I actually get the feeling that during the time of the movie, there's a lot of acceptance of things that happened in the past, and they're actually, through this tragedy, being able to move through a lot of that stuff
absolutely.
in the past as well.
Well, let's kind of get into the synopsis, so we're not just kind of throwing themes.
We are doing that, so yeah.
Yeah. So it opens with Emily on the bike, and then it cuts to Tyler in the car with his girlfriend, and
that's kind of the first thing we get is how the sound design of this works. Sound of the spokes on the bike going into the music of the car.
Yeah. Also, the camera work is incredible in this movie. It's some of my favorite camera work I've seen in anything.
At the beginning, in the first stages of the movie, as well as the last stages of the movie, there's a lot of this. What do you call that? Where it's like this
rotational.
Yeah, this rotational where it just keeps going in a circle, getting every character in that scene kind of in one shot almost.
But the point of the first few minutes of the movie is to kind of establish Tyler.
Yeah.
And kind of his day-to-day life. We see him hanging out with his girlfriend. We see him doing wrestling.
Coming home.
His girlfriend's name is Alexis.
Yes, yes.
Hangs out with her a lot.
As one does.
I mean, a lot.
I don't think that's...
Isn't that first thing, like they drive to school
really?
And then they hang out, and then he goes home by himself.
I'm also single, so I don't know.
I don't know what a girlfriend is.
I'm not sure what that's like.
We might cut that out.
We're going to have to bleep that out.
Bleeped.
We're going to have to bleep that out. Anyway. So, the first kind of chunk is kind of, like the day-to-day of, for Tyler, and kind of how he doesn't really catch a break. He's kind of always going. Yeah.
Either he's working for his dad, or he's doing school, or he has wrestling.
This kid can perform.
What does that
Please elaborate.
I mean, this is just adding in the fact that he is always doing something, and he seems to be able to do everything. He's in sports. He does well with his grades, and he even plays the piano like a
beautifully. This is coming from Michael Davis, and piano connoisseur.
I'm not a connoisseur.
Piano prodigy.
No,
he likes to call himself that.
Anyway, no, I do not.
So he's played by Kelvin Harrison Jr., who was in Trey Edward Shults' other movie.
Oh, It Comes
at Night.
Yeah.
Where he was, he was unrecognizable.
He
I didn't even know that it was the same person.
Who's
he played
Tyler.
the son.
Oh, he is in that.
Yeah, but he's like 90 pounds, and It Comes at Night, and he's like quote unquote buttery hot in this movie.
What's the distance between those two movies? Like 4 years or something like that, right?
Like less than that.
3
years.
2017, 2019. 17, yeah.
Was It Comes at Night 2017?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was, because it was after we graduated.
16. Okay, yeah.
Anyways, no, that's crazy. But
so kind of like a commonality with the actor and director there.
They work very well together. He's also wonderful in It Comes at Night too. Where were we though?
just
kind of getting
synopsis
him
stuff.
into his
So
routine.
He
pretty much immediately we see his relationships with people around him as well. Whereas with his dad, especially, where right when he's home, it's like, yes, are you doing your homework? It's like very, the conversation is more like around scheduling than it is like, I don't know, like personal. Yeah, I guess they talk more like, like a boss employee than like a father and son should, I suppose.
Yeah,
Well, they literally
well
are.
said.
He literally is a boss employee. Never mind. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's important. And this is the first kind of theme that popped out to me from these opening scenes is kind of, especially with what we know happens later, is kind of where you get your identity too. Because we see Tyler break down later when he can't wrestle anymore because of his shoulder injury.
Yeah, it seems like kind of based on also when he gets home and he is seen taking like hella shirtless pictures of himself to post, and he gets a text from his girlfriend. He swipes up on it to ignore it to choose the perfect photo to post. And I guess that is more just like kind of shows the perspective of them, because it cuts from that to when they go to the party, and it kind of shows that same reflection of that, whatever that is, in like for his girlfriend as well. Yeah, where they're, I forget exactly what she says, but when they're coming to the door, she's like, the goddess is about to arrive, and it's just like these people are both so into themselves and are just like really just
that
I remember thinking this can only end well.
Yes, those always.
Well, no, you clearly get everything is so perfect, or at least perfect superficially. It's all that
got a beautiful house in Florida.
All the stuff that people might initially chase in life, but then realize that there's really nothing there. And so Tyler, performance based. I mean, that is where he gets a lot of his identity, like you're saying. So I want to cut into this idea of conditional love versus unconditional love, which is, again, it's almost how the movie is mirrored. The first half of it has to do with this conditional love. The second half has to do with the unconditional love. Tyler loves himself conditionally upon the fact that he's performing well.
Oh, absolutely.
That his image, right?
I think that's how he expects his love is coming in general from himself and other people.
Well, you see that because his dad, he
projects that onto his dad too. He thinks Well, his dad kind of projects that onto him as well.
Say it's not without warrant.
Yeah,
it's not obvious at first with where Tyler's dad, what's his name, Ronald.
Yeah. Played by the magnificent Sterling K. Brown.
If I could choose to get a hug from anyone, it would be Sterling K. Brown.
He's a huggable man and good looking.
Yes, great voice.
A lot of this podcast, I'm finding out, is us discussing how hot we think
all male actors.
Toby Maguire, Buttery, Ronald Williams, Sterling K. Brown. Yeah, I'm going a little too far, aren't I? Anyways, no, it's really not obvious that his dad
is that hot until the gym scene.
Okay. That's right. There are a lot of shirtless gym scenes of him and his son working out in their at-home gym. It's lots of sweat, lots of abs.
Okay.
So, so
where were we?
So we're talking about Ron's relationship with Tyler.
Yes,
and how it's basically what's given. What you see at first is the performance. Again, this condition. I love you because you're performing well. Obviously, he doesn't directly say that, but that is kind of revealed in the. If I can jump ahead a little bit here.
Yeah, absolutely.
The conversation that they have with each other. As I think Tyler's when he's applying for colleges, I think, or no, he's doing work.
He's doing some work.
He's doing some work for his dad. Yeah. His dad comes down. How's it going? I'm halfway through, and he smirks at his dad a little bit after he says
it's not
something.
The system he wants him to do.
That's right.
He's doing it in a different format.
He gives him a little bit attitude, nothing serious. Like, but his dad really snaps at him. I mean, it's instantly no more nice guy.
Was there ever nice guy?
I mean, it wasn't necessarily obvious that he was not.
He seems to kind of only show affection towards his wife.
Well, he shows affection for Tyler when they're working out together. Or
that's true.
When they're competing in like their arm wrestling match after the church service.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
It's a lot of their bonding is through physical activity too.
It's weird that because even when he goes to the matches, you see all the other parents. I was gonna make the joke if you guys
Just
didn't,
go for
but
it.
I actually won't.
The joke is that Christian can only relate for our.
This is first episode getting heavy.
The joke is that Christian can only relate to our father through physical activity.
John, I hope you get something out of this.
He's never.
He
listen.
has
Because it's not physical activity.
Because it's not something he approves of.
he has watched this movie twice, and both times he was like, "Yeah, I don't know, it was pretty good." So maybe the third time.
Let's go running.
Christian,
Christian,
you,
back on track.
Christian, you
back on
finished your
track.
homework? Okay. Oh gosh, yeah. It's interesting though, this relationship, because even at the wrestling matches, I think we mentioned he's into sport. I don't know if we mentioned.
Well, no,
he
yeah,
does
We
wrestling.
talked about wrestling. Yeah.
He's one of the top wrestlers, in fact, on
Yeah.
the team. And even at the wrestling matches, which his dad is very adamant about showing up to, it
Not only
seems,
about himself, they're in the diner talking about making his first meet in. Yeah, and the sister says that she has to miss it, not because she just wants to, because she has like
Other
a thing with her
commitments.
classmates to make, and they're like kind of treating it like that's not okay. Like she has to be there. So while they have kind of this cold relationship, the dad really cares about his son's future athletically.
And
as
there's more I
well.
want to say about this, but we'll get to that in a second, so we're not jumping ahead too much.
That's
So
true.
yeah. So what I was going to say about the meets, those you see all the other parents cheering for their kids, and he's
just
kind of just sitting there focused on what his son is doing, almost in it. It almost
I think
looks,
we'll get there because
We'll
like
get there. I
this-
want to talk more
like,
about the wrestling.
way
meets
we're
specific in a
the way
second,
we're
I
jumping
think.
ahead right now is only by like 10% of where
Yeah,
we are.
we'll
so
get
it's
there in
kinda
just
like-
1 second.
we talked about the
So they went. So
church service.
Okay,
yeah.
here's how it
We
is.
really
It
talked about
goes
that.
his
He
day.
goes to the party.
They go to the
first.
party. At the party, we really just see them kind of experiencing the fun for just kind of fun's sake. Like, whereas it's kind of just like any other. It's just a group of people all just in their own place, essentially. And it's really distracting.
Sorry, Michael's drinking a milkshake in the worst way I've ever seen a man drink a milkshake in my life.
It's really good.
Okay. Are you going to be done?
Hold on.
Oh, man.
Oh,
God.
She goes right into the mic.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, they're at the party. He stays out late with his friends. Next morning is time for church, and
Yeah.
of course he's been out late.
It's time. It's church time.
Church time, and this is the service.
Joe, I know
Michael-
you're listening to this,
Michael,
and
don't do that.
I-
I'm cutting that out.
We're going to have to bleep that. So this is where kind of the heavy-handed like church scene comes in, whereas it's just the entire sermon is kind of almost like
One of the
a
many
narrative
themes,
on what the characters need to learn.
but not yet.
But not yet.
Otherwise, the movie can't happen.
Yeah. If they all just like listen to the
Learn it.
sermon, the movie would be like 20 minutes.
no, it's like it's one of those little reveals before it's happened. That's it kind of. That's why I don't think I really thought about that service until I was really thinking about what themes I could get out of the movie. So what exactly does the preacher say? Like,
So he's talking about love and how we try to solve all these problems in all the ways that we think are going to work, but really if we just loved ourselves and those that like things will kind of sort themselves out if we start it from a foundation of love instead of a foundation of trying to get to a certain outcome that we think that we want, that you shouldn't even focus on that being what you want. You should just
Focus on how
Love,
can I love.
essentially.
Yeah.
exactly.
So Tyler falls asleep during that service because he's been out late and gets probably a top 3 of all time stare down from his father.
He's
That pierced
"So you
my
falling
soul."
asleep? What, you not getting enough sleep? Did you think the service was boring? So,
Yeah.
just the,
This culminates in an arm wrestling match, as all father-son conflicts do.
I
Just goes into
honestly
arm
don't
wrestling.
know if I've ever. in
Have
my
you
life
ever,
had
like,
a
gotten to an arm
match
wrestling match with your
my
father?
I don't even know if I've ever had one.
Really?
Honestly, yeah.
It's an experience.
I've had many
It
with
sucks.
my mother.
Did you win?
No,
Geneva kick his ass.
dude. I think I've won one in my life, but now I'm really like just
You get
sickly
destroyed
again.
now.
Oh my god, yeah.
Did you say you're sickly?
I think
again?
I'm pretty sickly right now
So
Oh,
that's why.
because I drink the milkshake. Yeah. See, I prefer milkshakes to arm wrestles.
Okay, yeah, print that on a T-shirt.
Anyway,
no.
I would say,
Okay.
don't you dare.
I won't.
I would say the one thing to take out of the arm wrestling match is while it starts of like, oh, you want to go and arm wrestle, their faces immediately get like, this is a life or death. Like,
both of them need to win, especially with Ronald's character.
His father, for sure. And sure enough, he wins.
Of course.
And it cuts straight into the workout scene together where Tyler's working out very like, this is the way releases emotion probably like no one does leg raises like
one more just go one more yeah they're like, both each other's best hype man.
They're both kind of one and the same on the way they kind of use this to vent, I think, and I think that's why they probably connect during it as well.
I think so too. It's kind of the only time they can be, I don't know, outward expressions of emotion.
Like there's no front, even if there's no thing that you need to try to put on. It's just like complete the lift. It's very straightforward.
We also
I got to backtrack for 1 second because this is an important line at the dinner.
The diner.
The diner. I mean, sorry. It's when we first learned about Tyler's shoulder injury.
I was literally about to say.
How did I miss that?
I was just going to mention that because when they're working out, then his dad, his mom. Really is a little. It seems like she's pretty concerned about the
but
shoulder.
she's the most concerned.
But
about
she
is
the most concerned. His dad says I've been keeping an eye on it, and I think that
she said you've been keeping an eye on your knee too, and look
just
how that
just
went.
like you did keep an eye on your.
I think that relates to a broader thing of the communication breakdown of this family. Is he thinks he's been watching his son's shoulder injury. He thinks he knows what's going on, but really underneath it's like a career-ending thing, and he doesn't even know it yet.
Well, it's very like.
And meanwhile, his son's going through some really bad emotional stuff, and he doesn't know that.
I would say
either.
Just being on that side of sports and knowing people in that specific sport, everyone's hurt at all times. Essentially, it's what they say is, are you injured or are you hurt? If you're just hurt, you're good.
Is that really a saying they would tell you?
It's a saying. Yes. Are you hurt or are you injured? Everyone's hurt.
I mean,
everyone
I've heard,
has something.
Sports culture is healthy,
especially wrestling.
Man.
Wrestling is the most mentally healthy sport you can get. Just take a bunch of high schoolers that are already just hormonal to shit and don't know what's going on, starve them.
Make them make a weight class.
That's that's actually we get a little glimpse of that in the movie with the wrestling coach.
Oh yeah,
that's a crazy scene where what does he say?
We'll get there
when we get there. But I actually wrote down what that coach was yelling at the kids, it's just like
crazy sports.
We'll get there when we get there, but
it is.
Let's leave it at that right now. We'll get there.
So shoulder injury, that's important to know.
Yeah, very important.
Very important. But during the workout, his dad mentions it. He's like, "How's your shoulder doing?" Starts massaging it.
That's later.
That's after. Okay.
That's after the match.
Okay.
So let's see. What even happens after the workout scene is they go to work, right? And they're talking about
he shows them around the plot they're building or the big house.
So what do they do? Because they mention your mom's great with the patients, but also they're obviously in construction architecture stuff.
I think something architecture stuff. It's kind of unclear. I don't know enough about
it. Is pretty unclear. What's more important is kind of his dad's message to him about like life and how he what exactly does he say in that scene that
you have to take pride in your work.
There it is. Yeah.
Was mostly the message of that, because how you do your work, even in the little things, is how you're going to do a lot of things in life. And once you take all those little things and how you do them, that's going to be kind of your trajectory. So he's basically like, you want to take pride in your work so you can whatever end up with a master bedroom like this.
It's almost like
you'll be doing all right.
It's almost like he's saying, take pride in your work because that's who you are.
Yeah.
And that's, I was going to say that's another thing that reinforced kind of the idea of identity for me as one of the themes.
How he loves himself.
And it just kind of puts that pressure on of like how you work and whatever will determine where you end up. It's just more of that pressure.
And it's pretty heavily implied that Ronald really had to claw his way up to where he is now.
And he does mention that later too. Also, so performance, image, conditional love for themselves, I guess, in that sense.
Yeah, for sure.
The goal is to be doing all right.
Yeah, he'll be doing all right.
The American dream is just doing all right.
I remember that transition goes to the picture of him as a child, overlaid with him playing the piano real time. It just kind of shows all the photos that are on the piano because families kind of do that. But they're all of the kids when they were like
I do
children.
like that scene too because it does go back and forth between basically the piano and various other scenes with him socially. Doesn't he? Is that where he's hanging out with his friends some more too? Or
I'm trying to think next.
no, I think because it goes back and forth. You see him hanging out with his friends, having a good time with his girlfriend. There's a lot of time spent with.
Yeah, because they're
Alexis
dyeing
with
his
that too.
hair in her bathroom.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's
and
right.
he's at the dinner with her
the
parents.
piano music's almost too obnoxiously happy. Like just it just sounds really.
It's a sweet little kind of smooth
Sounds
jazzy.
everything's going all
I was gonna
right.
say it
Yeah,
sounds kind of Frank Ocean-y.
Yeah.
per
hot
se.
dog water,
Yeah, yeah.
man. Hot dog.
That was a joke we made during the movie.
That's just a
We're
common
making
joke.
it now.
I didn't know that.
Stop banging that on the table, please.
I'm gonna bang it.
I can-
I'm gonna talk like this for the rest of the podcast.
Please don't.
This is my real voice. Anyways, yeah, no, you get the impression that everything is going swell.
In that first kind of 10-ish minutes, other than like the minor conflict they have after the church service,
Right,
it's
right,
like
right.
this is a kid.
I
That's,
wouldn't even call that a conflict because
No.
you can't even tell it's
Whatever,
a conflict.
yeah.
It's like whatever his father said, it was immediately dispersed by.
it got resolved.
It got resolved by now we're going to be competitive with each other.
Like
Oh,
that
you
action
think you
on
can
its
beat me?
own isn't
Yeah.
a problem, but it's all the
Exactly,
underlying things
exactly.
beneath it that
Exactly.
make it
I
such a
think-
big
exactly.
problem.
You get the sense it's more of just a superficial cover of what is actually going on.
I think kind of like the beat in that glimpse into their lives is kind of almost what like maybe family, friends would see or people around them would
Yeah,
see. And it
exactly.
looks
Yeah.
good because it's like your son
Yes.
is very successful. You guys are, the dad owns his own business and obviously they're doing all right.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of like those first like 15-ish minutes are kind of like the outside glimpse of their family. And then literally every minute that goes on after that we spend time with this family, it kind of just shows a little bit more. It shows a little bit more of that inside
I agree.
perspective.
Yeah.
Piano playing ends. That's where that first act kind of
Well,
ends.
yeah.
in my
Yeah,
opinion.
it kind of bookmarks at that piano montage.
What's the scene that directly follows that? I'm trying to remember.
No, that's why I was
We
pausing.
should have ran that out. Is
hold
it
on.
the
I've
wrestling
got it.
meet?
Oh no,
It
I've
might
got
be
it
the
right here.
wrestling
Hold on,
meet.
I've got it. Did it perfect.
I'm gonna put a
Okay,
guess in
so
it's the wrestling meet.
I think how it ends. Yes, yeah, because what I've got here is the act one. It actually ends where we see him with the pills. Because the piano's playing, and then
Okay, yeah.
and
So he's
then-
stealing his dad's pain pills.
The first hint that anything really is going wrong that you can directly see. Again, not really just getting the sense that something's going wrong that we've seen
Something
from
like,
the
whoa.
15 moves. Yeah, he's got a pill problem.
Which I think
Probably
plays.
just to be able to
mm,
compete.
I didn't
still.
think as much so because
No?
I feel like if he was actually having problems with that, they would go to a doctor.
Remember,
I think he was just
didn't
doing
know.
it
Yeah, he hadn't gone to the doctor
recreationally,
yet.
and I think that played into him not knowing it was as bad as it was.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I
Is
like
while
that.
he's
Yeah.
doing this recreational thing, it's also actually working as
Yep.
it's supposed to help
Yeah,
his
to
pain
stop.
with his
I
shoulder.
think that too.
Okay,
I don't
no,
think
that's
he
a
was.
great point.
He
You're
wasn't
right,
feeling
you're right.
pain. He saw the doctor later.
Yeah, and then he tells
because
him.
he didn't even realize.
Well, that's
That's
probably what
another
let it get as
interesting
bad
thing.
as it did too. Is he didn't even know it hurt as bad as it did.
Well, that's the
because
thing.
He's just doing pills.
That was almost another reflection of what was going on emotionally.
Yeah.
Again, there's parallels that you see.
You can
between
numb
physical
yourself
and
with all this stuff, but in the end, you're still hurting really bad.
It's still there.
Yeah. So we get to the wrestling meet then.
Yeah,
And-
and this was the one movie I've ever kind of had a connection to be like, that doesn't look quite right.
Oh gosh, you're having a Whiplash drummer moment.
I guess. Now that you laid it out like that, I don't even want to finish.
You
For
sound like
those of
those
you-
pretentious jazz drummers. Who are
For
like,
one of
"The
those-
drumming
for those
isn't
of you-
realistic
yeah,
in
yeah.
Whiplash."
Miles Teller's
That-
a
that's-
real jazz drummer.
That's what you sound like.
I do. Yeah.
I don't like Whiplash because it's not a reflection of drumming.
It's a great
Even though
movie, but
even-
not a great drumming.
It's not necessarily really at all about drumming.
We'll
Okay,
save that for
we'll
a
save that for the
podcast
Whiplash
on that
podcast.
different
that
movie.
because I'm sure we'll talk about that.
That'll be
We all love that
such a
movie.
fun podcast.
I think so, too.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, but anyway,
Special guest Miles Teller.
we're gonna get him. What's that? J.K. Simmons? You'll be on the podcast?
Thanks.
Okay, anyway,
We
they're
might
at the
have
wrestling
to
meet.
bleep that.
They're at the wrestling meet. And the thing, I think we kind of mentioned it before, but we see his dad sitting in the bleachers, and it's just this
I
look
don't
of,
even know how to compare like how someone would watch something
it's
like
just
that.
pure analysis and
Yes.
almost disappointment because they go to the scene after the meet
in the garage
and
immediately
he wins.
to.
He wins the match.
Pins the guy.
Yeah,
It was
but there's just nothing but criticism.
It was literally, son, I know you did good.
If you would have done it the way I told you, you would have got him 20 seconds.
But I need
earlier.
you to do better.
Yeah, so pretty much that's when he kind of mentions the shoulder again and shows some care for him.
Yeah.
But
that's
is it
right.
care
So
for
how's
him
your
or more
shoulder
care for
doing?
kind of his athletic future is kind of what I was getting
Mhm.
from that. Is like,
Well, I think that reinforces the idea that my dad loves me if I'm doing good.
It's
in
that,
sports.
and I can't believe I didn't mention this before because, again, they're so image concerned.
Yes.
I think it's very obvious at this point that the father's also projecting himself onto the son,
kind of
where
living
Oh, probably.
vicariously.
where he may have failed athletically or something like
Well,
that.
because
He
we don't know a
really
lot about
wants
his
his
knee
son.
injury,
No,
but
we
I'm
don't.
assuming it's probably sports
Yep.
related. Probably ended
he
his.
knows how to wrestle if
career
he's
too.
training
Didn't
his
he-
son
Yeah,
in
I
wrestling.
yeah.
mentioned something, there were shortcomings for him basically, and
Of course.
that's why he really wants his son to basically
Yeah.
do well there.
A lot of this is do not live vicariously through your children.
They do say not to do that.
Maybe it's for a reason. I don't know.
You know, I didn't think so until I saw this.
I thought you were going to say I didn't think so until I had my own kid.
Almost.
Well, what are we going to get a little Christian?
I'll actually
Christian,
believe
little,
that. I
Little
don't know
baby
if this is
Christian
true.
running
Oh,
around.
God. Jeez. We're cutting this whole thing right
No,
now.
we're
So
not. No.
I'm going to listen back and I'm going to cut this up.
If you cut this up, Cole, I'm going to.
Don't do it.
Oh, I
Don't
think
do
it's. it's just-
You think
it's
you have the
tempting.
power to do that,
It's
but
tempting there.
Okay.
It's tempting. I'll-
nobody even knows what we're talking about right now because they can't see the
Oh,
stupid
they-
button Michael has that
Oh,
makes
they
a dumb
will.
noise.
Oh, they will.
Okay.
There's basically going to be, I'm not sure how long it'll last. Michael has, here, if you want to do it now, Michael has
Yeah,
a button that every
show
time
it.
Oh
he
no,
pushes
no, I
it.
don't want to do it now. It's
Well,
not,
I'm
my
explaining
gosh.
it. Do it.
I don't want to. It's not. I don't want to do it.
Now we have to cut this section. 'cause
Now we
it
have to
doesn't
cut
make
this
any
entire thing.
fucking sense.
Where are we picking up
I
at then?
have all the power.
Okay, we're back. We're back. They're training right after the meet.
We're talking-
Okay, so that's another thing. We get the impression that they were doing a mock. They were sparring. Is that the word?
So
you used,
no,
wrestling?
so pretty much it's kind of another vicarious thing. Is his dad is saying if you would have done it the way I told you to do it, you would have finished him earlier. And then he's
Yeah.
going over this same move, which is the takedown into the pin. So it's kind of his dad, like even for that meet, they had an exact plan that basically it seems like his dad made of how
Yeah.
to win this match, which just shows the level of involvement
right.
Oh, absolutely.
already.
And I mean that happened right after the meet too. They were.
Well, yeah,
doing
he
that right
won,
after.
and I'm sure he probably would have liked to hear a good job from his dad.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it was just criticism. Do it more like I told you to do it next time.
How's your shoulder?
But
How's your
again,
shoulder?
in this weird way where it comes off like it's it doesn't sound critical. Like the tone of his voice doesn't sound critical. He does it in like a, if you had done it this way, you would have really got him in the.
And that would
you
be
would have had
a
him
good
20
thing.
seconds earlier. Exactly. It's
It's
coming
like
off.
I want better for you.
It's
type
like
of,
he
Yeah.
thinks he's giving him advice, which I guess he is.
he
But
literally is, but it's just
but no. But it is.
But sometimes when you do
underneath
good, you
it
just
is-
want to hear a good job.
It's critical.
Yeah.
It is.
gotta
it's
give the
being-
compliment sandwich. So I think is
Do you
after
like
that
yours
like
with mustard or ketchup. Heinz 57.
Okay.
after that is it straight to
They
the
didn't like that.
CT scan or is there stuff in between that? No, I know there's stuff in between that.
Let me see.
Is there stuff with Alexis in between?
So it kind of
oh,
shows the
oh,
phone that she says I'm late, and it kind of just cuts off of that because they don't have the full conversation yet.
You know what we missed too? I think before that meet was the training montage of the whole introduction of the coach and the team. 'Cause I think that happened before.
That's literally
the
in the
meet.
opening scene.
It is. We went through the opening
scene?
stuff. Yeah.
Where- no. Because there was.
The locker room.
I made this. Yeah, the locker. No, I made this. Here we go. I made this note where the coach basically at the beginning of this Act 1B, right after we find out he's taking pills, I think this was right before the meet, and the coach says they're doing this weird,
Big chant.
repeat
It's a
after
very
me chant,
sports
I
thing.
cannot be taken down. I am a new machine. Almost cult-like in a weird, just a weird.
That's sports
Sports
for
are
you.
a cult.
Sports are a cult.
And so it's just pressure, yelling like, we do not do second place, we do not win. It's like Cobra Kai.
It's like Ricky Bobby's dad.
It's like basically just if you don't win,
there are no second chances. There are no second acts.
Tyler's not only getting this from
it's goddamn motherfucking.
I think that's important. No, I think that's important because we also see he's not just getting it from his dad. He's getting it from literally everywhere.
Yeah. Everywhere in his life is reinforcing.
You can imagine just how much pressure that puts an individual under. Hence the.
I'm going to say a lot.
Hence the pills.
I concur.
Anyways.
Okay. Yeah.
What's next?
Yeah, I'll fix it in post. Cut to the CT scan where he's getting his shoulder actually checked out.
Well, we'll just go there. That seems like the next big plot point.
The song choice for that is fucking
it's sick.
Point. It's an A$AP Rocky song. I forget the exact one, but
is that the one with the phone transition? Where
that is the phone transition.
The music transition.
The sound design and the music.
Trey Edward Shults had a huge thing with the
music specifically.
Yeah. He had all the actors as they were reading through the script. He had notes for them for which song to listen to at a specific time.
Fucking sick.
Yeah. Well, that just shows how integral the music is to this movie too.
He did say this movie's like a playlist.
Yeah, exactly.
Trent Reznor did the
score.
What else did he do?
Trent Reznor, he's from Nine Inch Nails. He did Social Network too, as far as other film compositions
go. He's done a couple.
He's done a few. I think he did. Did he do 7 too?
I'll tell you what he did. He did a good job on this
movie. I'm not sure on that one. We can be wrong sometimes. It's fine, unless I'm not.
Unless I'm not wrong.
Which I'm not.
Anyway, CT scan. This is where we really learn how severe the shoulder injury is. He said it's a level 5 slap tear, which is a real thing.
And
we were talking about
never seen that level before.
Yeah, so pretty much what that means is your muscle is off the bone. Your rotator cuff is torn like in half.
Oh, jeez.
Pretty much. So he said it's also running down his arm, which is the pain in his arm so pretty much anatomy wise. Hey, my anatomy is coming in.
Thank God you took it 3 times.
Moment. I took anatomy 3 times, and this is why. Okay, basically his rotator cuff is torn, and his part of the tendon leads into the rest of your arm going down it. So that's why I think it's interesting. He mentions that to not put any strain on his arm in general, especially doing the curl motion with the bicep. Cut to another workout scene where he's doing like heavy curls.
I know,
with his
I was
dad.
going to say that too.
And he kind of committed to not telling his parents about the injury because the doctor is advising him not to wrestle.
If we can just go back to that one, we see as soon as he tells him, you're not going to be able to wrestle this season, he just begins pleading.
Your muscle is off the bone, my guy.
What if I just
just get through it.
Get through it this season. I can rest over the summer and then be ready for next season.
What do they call it? Is it the 5 or the 4 stages of grief or something like that?
5 stages of grief.
He's in denial.
Yeah. But he says pretty much, can I just tough it out this season? I'll rest and recover over the summer and I'll be ready to go for the next season next fall.
He's like, are you fucking...
He's like,
are you listening to what I'm saying?
You need surgery right now and you'll probably never recover to where you were again.
Yeah. And
that just breaks him.
I think in that...
But he doesn't accept it. I mean, it's like he stays in denial the entire time.
What I got out of that scene is after he's like, you're not going to wrestle again, how the doctor's voice kind of fades out. I think that's not him being like physical shock, not being able to hear it. That's him making his mind of like, all right, I'm not going to say anything. So whatever the doctor says after that is kind of goes by the wayside because he's already made his choice of like, well, if I can't wrestle, I don't want that. So I'm just going to...
No, he has a sad time first. Remember, he goes and
eats
that cheeseburger in the bathtub.
Cheeseburger in the bathtub. That's a very
cheeseburger in the bathtub.
That's a very wrestler thing to do as well. It's just like the first
you get the
thing,
wrestler.
The first thing once it's over is just like now I can do the things I wasn't able to do, and that's always right to food.
Yeah, well that makes sense because you're constantly cutting weight.
Yeah, which kind of shows he feels like he's a little done with it because it's like. That's like the first thing that you maintain constantly. So I think it's him trying to kind of be like, all right, I guess this is over.
Almost letting go of it for a second.
This is a moment I think I'm going to bring up because I wrote this down in the notes. There's also this mentality between the father. You see it. I think you see it from Ron, but also in the actions of Tyler. This mentality of everything will be fine. His denial of the fact that he basically has a useless arm and that it's just going to get worse, and he has a very serious risk of the doctor said permanently
irreversible
damage. And I forget. I think it's his father who, when, I mean, you get this sense too with backtracking a little bit, going back to the wife mentioning the shoulder thing, and then he's saying, I've got my eye on it. This whole mentality of everything will be okay, which I think goes into.
It's more just the illusion of control, and
that was another theme that I kind of saw is people they are trying to keep control of something that's just completely out of their control.
And a step further, them trying to keep that control only amplifies the problem and kind of lets it keep going down this path that has a very bad natural consequence.
Sounds like another movie.
Probably several.
I'm going to say many.
I mean, I'm
I know
another movie that we happen to do a practice run on.
Yeah.
Prisoners.
Okay. Thanks for yelling that into the microphone.
Oh, I'll yell much more things into
I
the
don't need you to.
Cole.
That's okay. I don't need you to.
I'm the yodeling movie reviewer after all.
Mm.
So then he eats the burger in the bathtub, gets super fucking drunk, passes out to where the water is overflowing into his sister's room.
She's yelling at him.
That kind of is the first point her character moment, I think, in her relation to Tyler.
We see her at the diner
saying, I can't make it.
Yeah, but other than that, she's
really in the background. She's completely in the background.
This is kind of her first, like, how she relates to
the rest of the family. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess that's an interesting framing device, too, because this first half of the movie is really just about Tyler.
Yes.
And she's literally a background character for most of it. Yes. And I think her family kind of sees her as such too, is because they don't care about what she's doing. It's just
Tyler.
You're not going to be able to make Tyler's wrestling match. What is wrong with
Tyler's the moneymaker.
Jeez. Okay. I think what I got from the scene of how she instantly goes into the comforting mode for him, I thought may have alluded to maybe she was that way with the death of their mother as well. And just kind of stuck around in that role for him, because it definitely didn't seem like a first time. Like, she seemed pretty used to this role almost of like taking care of him. Like, she wasn't that taken ajar by that he was like a mess.
Yeah,
and kind of knew how to work
through
it.
Holds
almost
him and lets him cry in her arms.
I don't think that was the same scene. Because the bathtub's the first scene where he's eating. No. She's just knocking what's going on, and the scene where she really realized that something was going on is when he came in when he was throwing up. And came back.
You're right.
My bad.
So no, it's okay. It's just I think there's some more stuff that happens in between that.
We see him go
back to practice in the morning
because that's
why
I was
vomiting
thinking
on the track.
Because of the cheeseburger in the bathtub.
That's why I was thinking. That's
probably with the copious amounts of alcohol.
So funny because of the cheeseburger in the bathtub.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he goes to practice. He's running. Vomits all over the track because of the cheeseburger from the bathtub.
Just look at him like, what the fuck is going on with this
What's wrong with this guy?
Yeah, because we see, because they're doing essentially the same workout in the opening scene, and he's just like the head of the pack the entire time. So I think that's what warranted kind of like, whereas like even his coaches are like, something's up.
Like a dramatic change in this person's performance.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. We do get a facial expression from the coach where he just looks disappointed more than anything.
Yeah.
Well, there's no like follow up like, hey Tyler, is everything okay? Yeah. It's more just like.
And I think that's more into the communication. Like, they see something's wrong and they don't address it.
Yeah.
All the people in his life do not address.
Everything will be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I mean, from a coach's perspective, perhaps it's like you see one of your athletes isn't really performing, and then you kind of lose interest in them. Well, yeah, not ideal. Not an ideal.
I think
coach
that comes
situation.
back to kind of how he thinks his dad views him too.
Exactly.
The coaches and his father, he thinks, kind of view him in the same way.
It's just almost reinforced all around. I don't know if it's reinforced with Alexis as much.
So I was just going to say we should talk about their
relationship. We're getting into that
because there's a couple other things
the relationship
going
on
with
two
that
pretty soon.
What did we have any other scenes that she? Because I seem to
remember
this
dinner.
Basically, it's just all them happy.
Yeah, they're hanging out, doing normal like high school couple stuff. Having dinner with the parents. She bleaches his hair.
They hang out on the beach.
Yeah.
That's right. Because I feel like we're in. God, is it the pacing of the movie is just weird? It just
Oh,
goes
I also
back.
forgot
It's not
to
the
mention-
pacing. It's just there's so many different scenes between.
I also forgot to mention
Tyler
a
and all
very
these
key
characters.
point of the editing of this movie is after he gets the news of how bad his injury is the first aspect
Oh, yeah,
ratio.
great
Oh yes,
change.
I don't know how we didn't mention this before.
I was gonna
Okay,
mention that, but I didn't
this is one of my
it's-
favorite
it's-
parts of the movie, and I think we just got caught up in a lot of
We
other
did.
stuff.
We did. Well, there's a lot.
But
to talk
the
about.
aspect ratio is constantly changing throughout the movie. It gets tighter and tighter and tighter the more stuff Tyler has to go through.
Does that affect? Because I mean, the way it affected
Well-
me was it made it more stressful.
Yes,
almost to
that's
watch.
what it's supposed to
And
do.
that's I assume
The
that
walls
was
are
and that's
closing in.
and that's a staple of Trey Edward Shults.
Yep.
He really likes to mess with
Did
the
that happen at It Comes at
Oh,
Night
yeah,
too? I don't
yeah.
remember. We got to see that movie.
all the
again.
dream sequences are in that
Yeah.
squash kind
Oh,
of
it
aspect
really
ratio.
does have a powerful effect.
So the first of many aspect ratio changes comes when he gets the news of the severity of his
Yeah.
shoulder.
Yes.
Cuts in the image a little tighter.
Yeah.
So another thing I think we start noticing more is the at this point is I can't exactly put together what happens first here. All this stuff kind of blends together at this point. We see him using the pills more.
We need synopsis notes for the next one. is
well,
what we're
I
saying.
mean, yeah, it's just
It's fine. This movie's this movie's pretty free form with its plot.
there's a
Fair
lot
enough.
of
There's a lot of
stuff.
just
There's a lot of
events
stuff.
that happen.
I
and
feel
then
like
and
we're
then
in-
there's the big like plot
It's-
points.
Well, see,
It's
I
often hard to
feel like
figure
we're
out
in the
which
place
ones
right now where
come first.
we start noticing more pills. His
Yes.
dad even mentions
He even has his pills
Yeah.
in
Have you
his
started
mouth guard
using- taking
case,
any
so
more
he
mouth
has his
pills?
own stash,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
he takes
that's
from
right.
his dad occasionally.
things
too.
start spiraling, and the score also starts to literally spiral downwards. It just adds to that.
the downward
that-
spiral, if you will.
Yeah, it just really creates
Fuck
a.
you.
Come on, that was fun.
It was
I
a
don't-
good one.
I don't
It's
get it.
it's
I
a
don't get
9
it.
Inch Nails album,
'Cause-
and
Oh,
Trent Reznor.
Trent
oh,
Reznor
is
is
that
in
the
9
one?
Inch
Where,
Nails.
is that the one with Hurt? Is it the?
I think
That's
so.
that's really the only
Okay.
song I know of.
Anyway.
Anyways,
Yeah, we see him abusing the pills more, and
I think,
I think
around this time
he goes to the
No,
meet
we-
where he
I was
gets.
gonna say-
Alexis gives him the good old news.
I think that's
is that
No.
after his injury. No, this might. So you see
It's-
kind of her talking about it. It shows their text conversations, but because it's from, they made the choice editorially not to show like the really big blown up screen image.
I
So
like
you can
that.
see
That's-
exactly what's going on. You're literally just the camera's over his shoulder, and you can kind
If
of
you're paying
see what
attention, you can
he's-
read what
he's typing,
they're
what she
talking about.
typed in. It doesn't hold on it all that long. It's mostly just like you could see the scene as just him on his phone in the room. But if you look closely, you can see what the conversation is about. She
Mhm.
says like, "I'm late," whatever, and they don't really talk about it much there. They start having a conversation about it after his injury.
at the beach, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think it goes to his next wrestling meet, where after we now have knowledge, and he now has knowledge of how bad his shoulder is,
yeah.
and there's kind of that nervousness of like this, he
Yes,
should
yeah,
not
that's
be doing
right.
this, and it shows his opponent is like this
Really
Herculean.
he is
Terrifying.
scary. That's- I think I let out a little whoa during that scene in the movie. 'cause-
audible, really
'cause-
loudly. You did that. Yes,
'cause, I mean,
that's
dude,
correct.
He was scary. He was a big guy.
It's just, for me, it's just one of those thing. I think what was scary about him is just wrestling wise, when you see someone that big and how he was moving around, the speed and the flexibility of him
Just
for
the-
someone that big, you're like, oh fuck.
The really fast, strong guys. Are the
Yeah.
He
scariest.
looked like he could have been good at any sport.
Yes,
And
just
I'm
a
probably is.
specimen.
He was a specimen. That's
Yeah,
for
so the meet starts, and immediately the sound design of this is you can hear all the pops and the slips
Mhm.
of Tyler's
And the score
shoulder.
is going to an anxiety driving level.
Yeah,
of
to where
crazy.
you just
Interesting
kind of
sound design there too.
Yeah, it's where you
it's
just kind of have
yeah.
your eye on his shoulder and all like the different angles it's being put at and all the pressure it's being put at.
Mm-hmm.
And so he ends up on the ground, and where he's just all of this guy's weight is basically right where it should not be, and you can hear all of the pops in it.
Oof.
And you can see in his face he's not even thinking about winning anymore. He's
Once
just
he
in
gets-
a ton of pain.
I was gonna say, once he gets pinned, it's just a close up on his face and the agony that he's feeling.
Well, even before that, when he tries to stand up, you can see in his face. It's
yeah,
like
that's
this
true.
guy is just trying to like survive at this point. He's not even like. Whereas in the other match, the look on his face is more determined and more like.
Competition.
Yeah. Whereas
I gotta
this
win.
is like, oh fuck. If I lose, I hope it goes to my other arm, basically.
Mhm. And it does not.
It does not. You kind of hear the full snaps and tears of, even if he had the worst rotator cuff tear you could get, it somehow gets worse.
Like, I mean, because it's like
this is the first level 6
oh, yeah.
that doctor's
Yeah.
gonna see.
Oh, yeah. You know that irreversible damage that the doctor was talking about?
This is it.
Well, that was exactly what happened there. So
he gets pinned. The paramedics and Ron come up to him immediately.
Yeah.
Cut to the locker room where they're kind of looking at him, or they're
yes, they're pretty much putting him.
He's in tears.
Yes,
the whole time.
yeah, they're pretty much putting, kind of a bandage on his shoulder just to hold it in place. So
slide around
so it doesn't
everywhere.
move. They put the ice on it, and pretty much him and his dad are just making eye contact, and his dad is all the way across the room.
Yeah, similar.
And the look on his face is just so
similar,
disappointed.
Similar to the coach. It's like
rage,
disappointed and just.
They're definitely not trying to comfort him.
His dad looks at him once, but then looks away, right?
Yeah, it's like his dream as well just got shattered. Like a huge part of his life.
Again, that investment that
he's so like
this on the projection.
This affects why he does what he does as far as like how he eats and how he lives his life and how he sleeps. Like everything's kind of on this and towards. It's so on this that he was ready to take the irreversible shoulder stuff, and now this whole dream is gone, and no one's there to really even talk to him about that. Everyone's just like, fuck.
Mm-hmm. And then as if Tyler needed even more bad news, we get to the scene
on the beach
of him on the beach with Alexis.
This is what I want to say is this is the first of a few shots as well of the sky and the weather. We're kind of on this beach. There's
they
like
do this a
these
lot.
storm clouds moving in.
Oh, the lightning. That was a beautiful shot. Yeah.
And he's talking to his girlfriend, and she's going like, hey, I know you're really stressed right now, but we kind of need to talk about this other thing.
She brings it up too very weirdly, where she's like, I'm scared.
I'm getting really
scared. And he's like, why? What's going on? She's
like,
like, what's and then his sister's like, okay, what's going on? And she says she's late for
like 3 weeks.
Period. Yeah, it's been 3 weeks now.
So it's pretty obvious that she's pregnant at this point.
Yeah, there's no pregnancy test scene. It's just like, I've been late for close to when I should be getting another period. It's probably.
And then they have an interesting conversation.
He's like, we're in this together.
He says, we're in this together.
It's kind of just basic toxic relationship stuff of just like saying what the other person wants to hear.
Exactly.
It's the promise. It's the promise of unconditional love. How obviously it's really kept at that though. It's the abortion scene right after this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically what happens is he says, we're in this together. I'll be there for you always.
Because at this point, he thinks she's going to go through with the abortion.
Exactly. and so while it's the promise, what's the promise of unconditional love, there is a certain condition there that we see in the next scene, where they're driving up to the abortion clinic. They see a bunch of crazy people. And the security guard.
Oh, the security guard's awesome.
I really I thought that was super funny. So they walk into this abortion clinic, and the security guard, he's just going like, all right, y'all. These people are crazy. What exactly he say they do? Like they carry guns on them.
Yeah, I've seen it.
That's right. Yeah. He's like, I've seen this happen.
He recounts a time when somebody told a young woman if she didn't go through with the abortion, they'd adopt her child, and they did not do that.
That's right. He said they didn't, and now they're stuck with that. So he's basically telling them that don't interact with the crazy people out there.
Yeah. So Tyler's just sitting in
their help to protect them.
Yeah. Well, so Tyler's just sitting in the waiting room.
He tries to just drop her off and not even go in the waiting room
like,
too.
Yeah, I guess I can drop you off right here. She's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And so it just kind of shows his he doesn't even want to acknowledge that this is even a thing.
No, he's ready to just drop her off and have her take care of it, and then it's over.
So it just kind of shows his how much he just is in. I feel like it's just another toxic relationship thing where it's overlooking the things that you want to overlook. But with something this extreme, it's demands that you need to address it. And so he goes in, he's in the waiting room, and she comes out way quicker, within a couple minutes, and she's in tears, and he doesn't even understand.
No, she wants to leave.
That she didn't go through with it. So they're on their way to the car when they actually have the confrontation with the people in the parking lot.
Yeah. And she calls him a racial slur, the crazy protester lady does.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And he's screaming at her, and then they just get in the car.
It kind of just sets the tone of
they're
already getting amped up.
It's getting tense.
Yeah.
And I think one of my favorite aspects about this too is as she's telling him that she didn't go through with the abortion, the seatbelt beeper is
beeping,
going off all the time too, so it's just ramping up the tension even more with noises.
I think I noted that the seatbelt. Really stressful scene. I think this is probably the most stressful
really
scene we've had up to the point, which they just kind of get exponentially more stressful as the movie goes on.
So she's pretty much saying like, I didn't do it. And
he's like, what do you mean you didn't do it?
And she's like not even trying to be like, oh, like what were you feeling? He's like, what? Yeah. What do you mean?
All of a
Don't
sudden,
you understand this affects me? Yeah. She has to explain to him, it's my body.
All of a sudden, Mister, I'll be with you through the whole thing. What are you doing? You're crazy. Why did you not get the abortion? Not understanding. Huge yelling contest. Gets to the point where she gets out of the car. Yeah. She gets out of the car. It still continues.
I love it. I was going to say.
they still yell for walking. I was like, fuck you.
Well, it's another example of.
Well, she slaps him too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Right before she.
That
gets
they're
out of the
both
truck.
just very not in any state to be in a relationship
at all
with anybody. Yeah.
But another piece of the camera work that I really like in this movie is
how the camera's attached to the door.
Yes.
Yeah.
When she slams the door in his face, the camera's attached to the door, and then it's just
shows
perfectly
him
lined up on his face. It's just so good.
Well, she does say she's
just such creative camera stuff.
And I think she said that later, actually. But you kind of realize that the whole relationship revolved around Tyler, at least from his perspective. I
think that it was, as I said in the beginning of the scene, where it both shows how big of egos they have.
Yeah.
I think they both, in their own rights, revolved the relationship around each other. In this first
situation,
where
we didn't get a whole lot of Alexis as a character. I didn't get that a whole lot from her. It was
you kind of have to take it with a couple of the couple things she gets in the background.
Here,
yeah. Exactly. They're both
such and such.
They're both pretty self-absorbed people.
I think
idolize both themselves and each other.
Right. You can
get
it's
a really
it's a very
bad place to be.
stereotypical social media type of.
You can just say codependent relationship.
Codependent. Well, I'm just trying to find a word.
Social media.
No. Because it's like it's.
I've been in one of those social media relationships before.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying where it's so about the image again.
Yeah.
It's like the relationship itself is.
I guess superficial.
Exactly.
You can kind of tell
how
that
you make each other look.
Yeah. That they probably haven't ever had to deal with something where they had to like come together at a problem. So that's why they kind of just
most of the time is just having fun together.
Completely different pages.
That's because it really was not real love. I guess it was just that
perhaps
image type
not.
of thing.
I'm gonna say no.
Just it falls apart right there.
But yeah, it's just kind of like shows how toxic it is. Where it's like after he's like, all right, fuck you, leave, and then the car still hasn't driven away yet. He's just looking at her, he's like, I'll drive you home. She's like,
she won't let him.
Yeah, fuck off. Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty much. We need synopsis notes so bad.
No, we're fine.
So then he's just kind of at home, and this is where they go to the text conversation where she tells him that she's going to keep it.
Yeah, and she says, I don't want to tell you if you're going to be mad.
That's right.
And he doesn't even try I'm not going to be mad, just
we
tell
also
me. He just
find
says,
out,
what did you do?
We also find out she told her parents.
And that's kind of like,
well, this is an interesting thing, too, is I think this is an example of good, because she communicates the stuff with her parents, and they're supportive,
and
they're
to Tyler, he's like, that's bad.
Yeah, Tyler immediately is terrified of bringing other people into this.
Oh, imagining his father, what he would do.
Oh, exactly.
In that situation.
For him bringing other people into,
After, by the way, I know we already talked about it. The whole. No, I can't even.
Did you just interrupt me?
No.
Have a half a thought.
I had a full thought, but then I was.
He knew he wanted to say something before.
I tripped on myself there.
What were you saying?
It's late.
I was just gonna say to Tyler, bringing in somebody else to any of this kind of big stuff makes it really scary.
He can't deny it anymore.
Well, I guess from my perspective, it's like why would
just
he
how
want
his family communicates really poorly.
Exactly. Why would he want to bring his father into if he knows he's just gonna chew him out or worse? Kick him. I mean, he threatened him in the. I think that's why I was trying to say was the one scene where they actually get confrontational. He was doing the work. He's like, I got it halfway done.
You didn't have to train with me. You didn't have to
You
work
got
for me.
That was your choice.
You got it so good, And
I think
you had no idea what I had to go through.
I think he says,
if you
don't want it like that, you can be. I forget what he says.
He basically threatens.
You can be out.
Yeah, he threatens to kick him out or just to basically he threatens him with not.
It's vague.
There, yeah, it's vague, but you kind of get
The threat is there, yeah.
And so why would he want to bring if he knows that it's probably
If
just
him
certain
putting the
doom.
date on the other side of the paper caused that, what a pregnancy.
So everything's closing in on him.
Yeah.
Pretty hard. They officially break up.
Yeah,
so
she
she says we're done. I'm blocking
Blocks
you.
him.
Second aspect ratio change comes with that.
He destroys his room.
Yeah, what was the music playing with that?
It's called IFHY by Tyler the Creator.
I know that.
Tyler the Destroyer of his room.
Yeah, because
he freaking destroys his room.
the joke there is that Tyler then destroys his room.
Tyler the Destroyer of his room. Okay, so the transition after that is basically his parents obviously are like, what's going on?
Yeah, and the funny thing is we don't see the resolution.
There is no resolution.
This is again. I just love the structure of this movie. Damn it, and how it's filmed. Sorry, I the more I think about this movie, the more I really like it.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is probably in my top 10. Now
So I'd say just kind of noticing what we've been coming back to as we're talking about the synopsis. Pressure is definitely a theme, I'd say.
Going Cole, going to your observation of how communication is important and how Tyler kind of just shuts people out. The whole secret thing. No. I don't know. This might just be me seeing something, that's not necessarily there. But the whole room situation, he shuts his parents out from.
Well, I was
going
to bring this up too. Him and his sister, like,
they share.
They do.
I don't know doors, the doors are closed most of the
blowing
time.
my mind. Yeah.
Until later, which we'll talk about this.
What
later
is the
when it comes up.
architectural thing? They share a bathroom.
They share a bathroom.
It's kind of
There's the two sliding
There's
doors.
a term for that.
I don't know what it is. I'm not an architect.
Tyler is.
What?
It's interesting. His dad can build buildings and he can destroy them with his.
It's called a Jack and Jill bathroom.
Okay, they have a Jack.
Is that actually what it's
I
called?
literally
They
looked
have
that
a
Jack
Jack
and Jill starring Adam Sandler bathroom.
Adam Sandler is the bathroom.
Okay, he plays. The trick is he plays both bathrooms. He plays.
Wait, so would he be the rooms then?
He plays both
guess he'd be
rooms,
the
and then the
rooms then.
bathroom is played by Al Pacino.
Okay.
No, that's such an interesting parallel. The fact that
When
they
the
share
doors
a
between
room,
their rooms
and
are
they
closed.
are I'm trying to find the right word. I know because we're getting towards that basically the half point of the movie, but I'm trying to find the word to describe the character of Emily and
Well,
what
we're not
you
there
could
yet.
say
She's still.
I know.
We'll
but
get there
I know.
so much. We'll get
It's almost
there.
like there's another
hard.
half of a movie that's about her.
That's why I'm saying.
So we'll talk about it when it's her half.
I don't want to talk about that half.
We need to talk about that half. We're doing a podcast on the whole movie.
Wait, why do you want to talk about that half?
Finish.
Do you have a problem with that half of the movie?
No, I love that half of the movie. It's a great half of the movie.
Cool.
Okay, well, all right. This old cat's getting shut down.
Are you talking about the literal old cat that's in the movie?
Oh yeah.
We forgot about that old cat.
Yeah, very important.
What was that cat? Was that cat just dry humping the
No,
air?
it
was having a
he just
seizure.
having a
Old.
seizure. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought he was humping something the whole
No,
time.
that's where your mind goes.
That is where my mind
Okay.
goes.
Anyway, after Tyler destroys his bedroom,
So the transition shot is the Instagram post showing Alexis is going to the dance with
right.
a group.
well, no, not yet. He goes and parties first.
Oh God, you're right.
Yeah.
At the bonfire.
He goes and parties at a
With
bonfire with his friends.
Is that
really
the
drunk,
Kanye West song?
mixed with pills
No.
and weed.
No, oh, that's
Yeah,
This is the Kendrick song.
Kendrick song. That's it.
but he goes.
He's
parties
having
at
a great
bonfire.
time. I think that this is very just like accurate. To where he's just like going hard at the song with all his friends. He makes eye contact with Alexa, and immediately he's just like, boom.
Oh yeah, you
it's
realize
just
she's
like-
at that.
Was she there or was he just?
I think she was there.
Okay.
She was
Because
He
his
was.
friends start talking about her once he
Okay,
sits
interesting.
down.
Because it's kind of unclear whether that is
I
just
think
in
she's
his
here.
head or not.
No, I
Okay,
think she's there.
Because
She's
it
looking
just
across
stops
at
for a second
'Cause
when
they
it
have
shows
the
her and there's
same
no
friends.
one
No,
else.
They
they
go to
I
the
felt
same
the same way. I
parties.
wasn't actually sure if
Yeah.
maybe he was just imagining that or something.
Okay.
But
Because his
from how
friends
the
get
movie
him
goes,
out of
I
there,
think it's.
so I think she
Yeah.
was there.
Yeah,
there's
we'll-
not really
we'll
a whole
go
lot of
with
like
that she's
weird
there.
dream sequences. There's actually no
There's-
dream sequences
There's
in the movie.
one.
Is there one?
His sister
I
has
think
one.
Yeah.
Oh, does she? Okay.
We'll get there.
Okay, but I think everything is actually
In her
as
half.
it's happening. So after the party, he had way too much.
There's the after party.
Fuck off. No, that's a band reference.
We get
2021.
This is where we get to the. This is
forgot.
where we get to the puking in the bathroom scene, and we actually see Emily.
Yeah. Well, yes. That night he had gone and
hard.
drank a lot, took a lot of the pills, smoked a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, they call that the trifecta.
They do. And he's taking another sad bath. This time, no burger.
Noticeably no burger.
An even sadder bath because there's no burger. And he falls asleep while the bath's running, and the water goes under his sister's door.
Yeah.
And she comes and is like, Tyler, there's water coming under my room.
But she's not
mad.
mad.
No. I think he was just puking. I don't think he was even in the tub. I think he was just puking, and she heard him.
Because
she knocks on the door, and he's like, the water.
Yeah, the water's coming under her door. That's why she wakes up.
First scene.
I'll let you know this right now. You're wrong.
Okay. Well,
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't think he was in the tub because I think he was throwing up and
he threw up and then he took a bath,
making a lot of loud noise.
And then she cleans up the vomit too. It's both.
Because that's how she very caretaker.
It's not. He throws up and then he falls on the ground. She comes and sees his vomit while he's on the ground. I remember that very specifically.
Then was
not that it really matters.
I know.
Then was I right that the first bath overflowed?
The first.
Okay,
bath
I was right then.
Yeah, who said you were wrong about that?
You guys. You were like it didn't overflow.
No, I said she didn't come in.
Here we go.
Our first.
We knew this was going to happen.
Our first useless.
No. I said Emily didn't come in and comfort him that time. She just said there's water on the floor.
He just turns it off. That's right. You're right.
The second scene, he's puking really loudly.
Wretched.
And then she comes in, is saying, Mom and Dad are going to wake up. What's going on? He's like, I'm sorry, did I wake you? And had it.
Yeah, well, immediately he feels bad about even waking her up.
Yeah.
And she just has to comfort him, tell him it's okay, not your fault.
Exactly.
And I think this is one of the only moments that he gets that is just
vulnerable,
loved,
unconditional.
And yeah,
he even though he's like in his mind he has to apologize for this thing. She's like, I don't even care.
Well,
like, are you okay?
He's also at his lowest. He is absolutely. Well,
okay. I wouldn't say.
Up to this point, okay. up to this point.
Are you sure about that?
Not
this is his rock.
Not at his most potential. Low. Not at the most potential.
To
low.
This point.
But up to this point, it's his lowest, and she seems to be the only weird source of comfort because we haven't really seen her at all.
Well, this is why I was like, it kind of maybe implied that this is how the dynamic maybe started with the death of their mother. Of maybe she was that person that kind of, even though he is the like the older brother, that she was actually the one to kind of take the lead on that.
It's important to recognize also that we have no idea about the mother thing yet. As far as we're concerned, their stepmom
is their
mother.
Is
their mom. Because
it never gets called her first name. It's always mom, whatever.
Oh, that's a tight reveal. That's a rough reveal, actually.
We just tight reveal.
I don't know. I think I was trying to look for the word rough, but I said tight.
It's
they're very similar. You're right.
Yeah.
Hate that classic mix-up.
Anyways, a calm in the storm. Very brief scene.
Yes.
What happens after?
I think then it cuts to the Instagram post of Alexis going to the dance with the other group.
Okay. Yeah.
Including a different guy.
Who he would know if he paid attention to anything she ever said.
She ever took the chance to get to know her friends. Going with her friends that he never took the chance to get to know.
What?
I was just saying because that's exactly what she says.
We are quoting
that's
them
why,
both.
I know. That's why I'm laughing a lot. I just can't. You got me. I find it really funny.
So it kind of shows just them going to the dance. There's a scene in the bathroom with
Emily,
his sister
and Alexis.
With Emily and Alexis.
And Alexis lets her try her lip gloss.
It's just kind of like a nice thing where, like, even though I might hate your brother right now, you're still like a good. I don't know.
I guess kind of like it could be because Emily's character in the movie is a background character, but I imagine she was also kind of a background figure at high school. She didn't catch me as a very popular type. To have someone who's probably is really popular like Alexis do that, maybe not that I don't see necessarily any importance.
It's just kind of wholesome. I'm not.
She was.
Where she's like, I don't want to do this because it'll make me like from that. And she's like, no, you'll be so pretty, whatever.
This is also this is also the transitional point, where
I think so.
where we start to see the
because this is the first scene.
Character shift. We start seeing more of Emily.
It's the first scene of Emily without Tyler present.
That's the thing. And so
other than the opening scene on the bike,
it's weird. It's almost like the again, I might just be seeing this, but it's almost like Alexis recognizing Emily is actually the literal transition of
a changing of the guard.
The importance and the significance, the main character being Tyler, and then it is now Emily.
Yes.
Of course, we still have
that
heck of a intense scene to get through.
That one part,
which Michael does not think is the rock bottom.
No. I think it's the rock bottom.
Having a sad bath without a burger is a worse fate.
I think that's worse than anything that happens in the movie,
my question
period.
my question about that, does that mean that every single bath is just sad because
there's no burger?
Because there's no burger? Like, is
Do you
that
have
just
a burger? Yeah.
So
if not, then yes.
Is the highest potential for a bath to be in a bath and have a burger?
I mean, all baths
is that
are
the best
sad.
bath?
If you're taking
right.
a bath,
but a burger makes it a little better.
Baths are nasty, honestly.
I feel like a burger brings it back to neutral, to where you're not like, oh fuck, I'm in a bath right
honestly,
now.
I don't know. I'd be so afraid of dropping something into that bath.
Like
kind of like how you dropped a hot and spicy into a hot tub.
I think the only one here to have perspective eating a messy sandwich in a big thing of water is me, and it's not clean.
Just tell that tangent.
No.
We were telling you.
We're not.
We're at a friend's house, and Cole, fully clothed, jumps into the hot tub. Shoes on with, I think, what, two or three hot and spicy
McChickens.
I seem to remember our the expression of our friend very livid, just kind of not happy.
That was the most mad I've ever seen her
because
in person.
she got really mad because Cole got little pieces of the hot and spicy in the hot tub.
Okay, long story short, not clean to eat a sandwich in a big basin of water.
That is the consensus.
Okay,
unless you know how to do it, which clearly someone doesn't.
We're gonna get back on track.
Oh yeah, the
wildly
movie.
off topic.
I don't know. I think it was really relevant.
I thought it was relevant. Moving on.
Outvoted. All right.
So Tyler, then after kind of seeing these posts, he has a weird scene in his room where he tries to work out a little bit, and his shoulder's like, nah, bro.
Yeah, I'm permanently damaged.
He gets like super high, or like he starts taking.
He starts snorting pills.
A ton of pills.
Takes his sling off, like moves his shoulder around.
Gets a like he gets like an outfit on, and he's like trying to do some curls into a shoulder press, which are the two things that are like
the worst.
The curls, and then rotationally putting that into a shoulder press is literally the worst thing he could have done.
I'm glad you know all this stuff, because I wouldn't have taken that as being
literally
more damaging than just working
exercise wise. It's the worst thing he could have done for his shoulder.
All of that on that shoulder.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, he's not happy. He's not happy.
So he says, fuck it, I'll do a bunch of push-ups on the floor, get a sick pump going before I hit this after party. He comes out and immediately
hit this Alexis.
The vibe
reveal. We gotta wait for the reveal.
So I forget what song is playing when he's in his room, if there is one, but whatever sound, it might just be score, cuts out when he runs into his stepmom. She's like, you smell like alcohol.
Yeah.
Where are you going? You're grounded. Get back up in your room.
And it still isn't like, recognize this dude is down bad, and she's still like, you're grounded. It's not like, hey, are you okay? What's up? It's like, you're grounded,
That's
mister.
another thing. Again, he just never received any sort of "Are you okay?" No one except
no
from
empathy.
Emily. Except from Emily.
I think Trey Edward Shults talks about too a lot about this movie is empathy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's a huge part of.
Almost no one but Emily feels that empathy.
Yeah. I'm going to say this again. It's a huge part of unconditional love to have empathy for someone.
Yeah, being able to see what they're going through and understand why they're doing the things that they are doing.
Which he just hasn't received from his direct family
no.
at all. No, that actually really did stick out to me too, because it's like you wonder. I mean, you think he just wouldn't be in that situation if someone had taken the time to say, "Hey, how are you doing?"
Yeah, and
he just never got that. So we get to the point where basically he just keeps telling.
Well, he gets in the argument where he's like, you can't ground me, I'm 18, where are the keys? Right. He takes his keys out of his dad's office.
That's right. Right.
Gets caught red-handed.
Well, and then does he tell
That's
her
when he has the conversation with his dad.
Yeah.
So
well, wait, the reveal. I want to say something about this.
Say it.
When the dad comes in and she when Ronald, the dad, comes in, and
Ronald the dad.
Ronald McDad.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's just funny.
I feel like it wouldn't be that funny if we don't record every podcast at like midnight at least.
What are you talking about? It's like 5:00 p.m. We're doing this at a completely reasonable
We've
time.
never
we're
recorded
not.
a podcast not in the early hours of the morning.
Well,
tries
we
to
will
get the
next
intro
week.
down.
We're
It
doing
was
this every week
torture.
now.
I am living a nightmare.
You're getting that cut.
Anyway, what were you
Nightmare.
saying before
Yeah, what were you
Ronald
saying?
McDad?
I think it's just Tyler has a brief moment of fear on his face when his mom's telling his dad
You
about.
hear the footsteps
Yeah,
and you
it's
see
like,
Tyler's
what's
reaction of
going
like,
on?
oh, fuck.
Tyler just took the keys out of your office. It's like that brief moment of fear he
I'm
has.
fucking
Yeah.
dead.
How exactly?
And then
he-
instead
I
of
forget,
shying
hold on.
away from that,
Does he say, "You're not my mom.
no,
my
yes,
mom
yes,
is
he
dead"?
goes. He goes.
This is
Yeah,
the
you're
right-
not my mom. My real mom is dead.
How did he reveal that? Because they were just arguing. He just said, "You're not."
Yeah,
So
he
I
just
am
pretty
your. Oh
much
no,
threw-
because she says, "I am your
No,
mother."
it's because I think the dad says don't talk to your mother like
Oh,
that.
he called. Didn't he call her a bitch or something?
Yeah.
he called
Yeah.
her something. And then don't talk to your mother like that. And then
Catherine,
you know,
you're pathetic.
yeah, you're not my mother. You're pathetic. My mother's dead.
And then she's
Yeah.
trying to play with him. I am your mother.
She
but-
says that so many
Yeah.
times.
It hurts her.
Well, yeah,
Well,
you can
yeah,
tell.
she's
You
crying
can
and-
tell she's just being destroyed by his words. I mean,
Yes.
you're a bitch. You're not my mom. You're pathetic.
And this is
then
what
his
sets
dad,
Ronald off because this is, as I said before, like the one person
Watch your
Ronald
mouth.
does
Yeah.
show affection towards.
I'm gonna
getting, like,
come over
wrecked.
there if you're not careful. And then
And
he
he's like,
says,
"Do
I
it."
hate you.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
I hate you. I mean, he and also cutting words, but basically, his
He's
dad
like-
walks over.
He literally
to him,
says, "Come at me, bro."
walks over to him. Tyler
Just kind of throws him
throws
off.
him
and
on
that
the
aggravates
ground,
his
and
knee.
his knee. Yeah, you can see
His knee
So-
slams against
yeah.
the ground.
Fight
These guys-
over.
Yeah.
Because this is a very injured man. They're two very injured men.
No, it's just funny
One
though
up
how his
top,
dad,
one
his
up
dad
bottom.
worked. It's funny how his dad worked out so much and was so up about keeping his body in shape, but then one
So
little
literally my
push,
father.
and then his knee just gets like
Knee
taken out.
injuries are a lot like gravity.
all it takes is a little
push.
Anyway,
Wow. Yeah.
so at that point he's kind of won the fight and kind of just
Yeah,
goes
he
out
takes
the door.
truck and he goes.
Cue "I Am a God" by Kanye West.
That's when that horrible song comes on.
Whoa.
I don't like that song.
No.
Moving on.
I don't like it.
It kind of just shows kind of the peak of his ego. I thought was kind of what the most
I think so, too.
egotistical
He just beat his
Kanye
dad.
West song. He's probably feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't lie. He's on a bunch of painkillers and just won a fight with his father. He's probably feeling pretty good.
He's probably I mean, if good's the right word to use.
Good.
Sorry, I'm playing Jenga with the microphone. Cole's yelling at me. Oops, there we go.
Quick reset.
Okay.
So you guys ready to start over again?
Yeah. We're gonna clear this.
No, it
was a good run.
He kind of. I think this is fully because I mean he's on drugs and
The shot is
he's
just
so
zooming
drunk right
into
now.
his his expression as he's like
I think
you
he-
hear the revving of the engine.
Well, he
that
fully
he's just, like-
retreats into himself.
yes,
because,
into his ego.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that is probably something that happens regularly when someone's deprived of basic human needs like love, thinking you're only going to get it from yourself or something like that, and I think that's where he fully retreats into himself. What is it?
Get closer.
Hello, is it working?
Hello.
Well, it's
Oh,
the
medium?
mic is working. It's just
I was kind of freaking out that it stopped right there.
No, you're fine.
Okay,
Just
okay.
Get a little closer.
we've been
Anyways.
traumatized by technical
Yeah,
difficulties on this podcast.
It's been pretty rough, or tight, as I should say.
This is gonna be a running thing now.
Apparently it is. Okay, so he gets to the party.
Yeah.
Smokes a big old
Lights up a
blunt
Well,
right
Bleezy.
before.
First, his mom
calls
his friend.
Oh, yeah, she
and
gets
is
in
like,
contact
have you
with
seen
the friend.
Tyler
That's
anywhere?
right.
So as soon as he gets there, his friend's like, hey, your mom called.
Yeah, his dad goes out looking for him in the other vehicle.
Yeah.
We are recording.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get the fuck out of
Michael,
here,
stop.
landlord. I'm sorry. Please cut
Jared's
that.
the reason this is happening
I,
right
I,
now.
I know. I love.
Thank you, Jared.
It's a joke. Can we cut that out?
No.
Oh, the things you want.
This movie, much
That-
like in the movie, you must live with the consequences of your actions.
that we will actually play twice.
You're just gonna like expand that part and just
one when
have
you
that
said it,
repeat.
another at the very end of every episode.
Get the fuck out of here.
Okay.
This is gonna be the outro.
Anyways.
So
So
he gets to the party.
He's
His
at the
friend's
party,
like, "Hey, your mom is calling. Is everything okay?" He's like, "Yeah, do you want a beer?" Is his response to it. And
he's like, everything's fine.
Whatever,
Again, everything is fine.
so he goes into
That's
the
coming
house.
back
He
again.
sees Alexis with her date to the dance, and initially he just tries to just drink more. He goes to the bar and
Gets
it's a
a
shot
big
of
old
him,
bottle
gets
of
the
vodka.
bottle, mixing with some prescripties.
Sees Alexis
That
go
ends
up.
well.
That ends well.
He sees Alexis go up to a room with the guy she went to homecoming or prom
Yeah, where
with,
she's
whatever,
kind
whatever
of
dance
stumbling
It's a
around, and
dance.
he
I don't
kind
know
of
if it's
takes her
prom.
by the hand and like is leading her somewhere,
it is.
and he's like, "I don't like where that's going."
Time to drink.
So he goes back downstairs and gets more
Yeah.
drink.
And is this where he's looking in the mirror yet on that shot? Where he kinda,
No, he goes to the bathroom first, but remember, Emily sees him,
yes,
and then he gets up and goes to the bathroom.
okay,
I think.
yeah. And this is where he has a bit of a confrontation with himself that it's almost like he has a choice of does he want to continue with playing into that side of himself of, that he was kind of on that ride after that fight with his dad. It kind of is that come down from that and that choice of whether to continue it or not. And I feel like that look in the mirror maybe could have been a turning point of like, what am I doing? But when he comes out, he sees her with him again, and that kind of restarts it, I believe.
Yeah. And
She's going to the garage.
to get some more drinks.
He follows her, and he's seen headed towards her.
Yeah, I think Emily sees
by
him
Emily.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, he says, should you be drinking right now?
She's like, I'm not drinking. These are for my friends. They're upstairs.
Friends, you never
Did
took the
you-
chance to get
well,
to
we're
Did,
know.
not-
did you sleep with him?
Oh, yeah,
he kept saying- he keeps,
"Did you fuck him?"
accusing.
Did
and
you
then-
fuck him?
And then she says,
Who?
who?
Bobby?
My childhood friend who is gay.
He's gay. Yeah, you know that
he-
if you paid attention to anything I ever
Oh, he's-
said.
I mean, he's like he's
She's like, "He's
delusional
gay,
at this
you
point
moron," and
because he
then-
doesn't. He says you're lying, basically.
Yeah.
Just accusing her of something she didn't do. That's where we get the.
More healthy communication in this scene exemplified.
I mean, yeah, no, that's actually a good point. There probably was just none of that in their relationship.
No.
That's where we get the thing she says.
He kind of just
about-
goes into more toxic relationship stuff of
Yeah.
jumping the gun and saying, I don't care anymore. We can keep it. Thinking that
And
that's going to solve
she's
everything.
trying
and she's
to leave
like,
and he's
are you
grabbing
dumb?
her
I don't
arm.
want
We
to
can
keep a
keep-
baby
yeah.
with you.
You
Look
think
at
I want to
you,
raise
you're
my
drunk.
kid with you?
She says, "Look at you," and he
What
said,
do you
"What do you
mean,
mean,
look
look
at
at
me?"
me?" And then she, you're this, you're that.
She's just
you're
trying to
that,
leave
Yeah,
the
yeah.
situation.
Let me
And that's
leave.
where it just gets more tense as he's getting more physical with her, like forcing her back into the conversation, like grabbing her arm and stuff.
Yeah, he
And then
won't-
she slaps him again, which you can tell he already
Didn't
really
like the first
like
time.
the first time. This time where he's much more inebriated,
and he punches her in the head.
Yeah.
And she hits the ground hard.
very hard,
Hard enough to kill
hard enough to
someone.
change the aspect ratio again.
Again.
And that's
This aspect
The
ratio
end.
goes into 4:3.
Yeah.
of.
You only know that because
halfway
you watched The Lighthouse.
I know it because I watched The Snyder.
Oh, that was a trek. Oh, 4 hours of Justice League.
This turns into Waves, The Snyder Cut.
That'd be an interesting movie.
That would not be an interesting movie.
Do you think
Just
right
the slow mo shot
do
of
you
him
think right
eating in the
before he
bathtub.
punches Alexis, he'd go, "Tyler, no"?
No, I don't.
That was a niche reference.
I thought you guys would laugh harder.
Okay.
Moving on.
Anyways,
So this is the biggest aspect ratio change, and he's kind of just looking in, just kind of like, whoa, what the fuck
Yeah,
just
I can't
happened?
believe I
This is
just did
real.
this.
Yeah. And he's kind of just like, kind of in denial of like, okay, she might be okay, might be okay. And then he hears the scream of whoever sees it in the doorway.
First, he's just apologizing, weeping over her body, and he gets that little bit of time to reflect on what he has just done.
Yeah, because
And
there's blood coming out.
Yeah, she's
medically
obviously
not a good
well.
sign.
No. And the door opens and somebody screams and he just kind
Dips
of
out the other door.
Yeah,
Bolts.
he just runs.
he's out of there.
So that's when Emily comes in and we see her see this all kind of
Mhm.
going down as well.
And
Question: did he punch her with his bad arm?
I was wondering that too.
I don't know if that's important, really.
Doubt it,
but
it's not super important. It's just kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could have some thematic relevance. We're all overlooking if he did.
He punched her with the broken arm.
It was his pain that hurt her. Whatever. Like fucking. That, yeah. I don't know.
I don't know if it's that important. He's on the run now. His dad gets to the party basically right after
sees the police lights.
Far too late. Yeah.
Oh, we get that really cool shot of the police lights.
Just the ultra close up and then it pans back.
Yeah, that's another thing we haven't really talked about a whole lot is how beautiful just the shots are.
The cinematography in this.
We mentioned a little bit, but like it's. I mean, it's one of the more. Cole made a grumpy face there. It is one
shot
of the more,
composition
it's one of the more beautiful,
wildly impressive in this movie.
It's very beautiful.
This is a movie I like to watch.
Which also no, that's I mean, maybe that's I'll save that for the later recap of the movie. So we get that scene with the cop lights. His dad gets to the party.
He kind of sees which house it is by like, oh, it must be the one with copious amounts of police by it.
It must be the one with 100 teenagers and like 10 cop cars.
He sees Emily there, actually.
Yeah.
Oh,
he talks to Emily.
That's important, too. We forgot Emily saw Tyler go.
We said that.
We already said this. Yes, we said this.
I'm losing my mind right now.
Okay.
It's 1 a.m. Don't worry.
It's not.
12:30 a.m.
It's close to 1 a.m.
That's okay.
I rounded up.
So, Dad finds Emily. Emily is...
This is kind of a first...
Shut down. Not talking.
Kind of like one of Ronald and Emily's first interactions directly one-on-one with each other in the whole movie.
So.
Yeah, they're just one-on-one.
This is their first kind of one-on-one interaction that we even see.
Anything else before that.
And it's him kind of comforting her while trying to piece together what happened.
Like, did you see Tyler? Was he here?
Was Tyler here?
And she's not talking.
Is that his girlfriend in the ambulance? She kind of gives like a nod.
Because she's pretty broken up about what she's just witnessed. Traumatized by the horrific event she has walked in on.
Yeah, so it cuts to a phone call of Alexis's parents.
Oh yeah, they're getting woken up in the middle.
They're getting woken up by the call as well.
On the way.
Tyler's driving back to his house to change his clothes.
Runs into his
stepmom again.
Just recently found out that she's a stepmom.
He didn't recently find that out.
She's chasing him around the house, going, "Tyler, what's going on? You're scaring me."
And he's just.
What does he grab from his room? He just grabs
just
like a
bag,
pair of
duffel bag,
changes his clothes, and tries to dip.
Yep. Ron is talking with Emily. Did you see your brother here? And he's trying to get a word out of her, but she just kind of nods, like, yes. Was that? And then because he saw Alexis on the stretcher too,
was
coming
like,
out of it.
Yeah,
was that his girlfriend? Was that his
Yeah.
girlfriend?
He's trying to piece together what's happening.
I think he is trying to piece together what's happening. Not far from what he could ever possibly imagine. His mom chases him out the door. He goes out the door. The cops are already.
He's kind of hopping fences.
Is he hopping fences?
The cops are at the front door. He leaves out the back. He jumps the fence.
That's right.
Yeah,
runs into cops.
We see the lights coming through the windows.
The cops find him almost immediately.
Yeah, they
just
much.
Get on the ground.
And I love the shot of just his face, ultra close up with that really square 4:3 aspect ratio. It's just centered on his face as the lights change from red to blue.
Yeah, kind of like. It's kind of the last focus on him as a character.
Well, again, we don't really get another close-up of him again until the end.
What's also interesting,
and then we see the side profile of him in court, and
what I see. Well, at first it's just from the back. We only see the faces of his family, his mom and dad, and his sister.
Yeah,
he's faced. You can tell it's been some time because his hair is black now, and you see him from the back, just from the perspective of his family, very far away. It's a wide shot, and it's pretty much the judge giving him the sentence.
Yeah, that was an interesting reveal about his age too, at least for me, because we didn't really know exactly.
It's a high school senior.
Well, we didn't exactly know.
He says,
"I'm
18.
I'm 18. You can't ground me."
Remember when he says, "I'm 18"?
Okay, that's what
we don't really know about.
I am Tyler, 18-year-old. You cannot ground me. Remember when he says that?
Okay, so that's what I was just about to point out. It's right before this whole event happens, though, so it's really fresh. I don't know. I thought that late reveal was a little bit more kind of like the late reveal if you find out that's his stepmom.
I don't think
found
that's
it a little
super
bit
important.
I found it a little more impactful because
Why did that impact you about the age?
Because he's 18.
He's being tried as an adult.
Exactly. His consequences for what he did are so much more severe.
But keep in mind, this sentence is technically with mercy because he gets parole after 30 years. He's up for parole after 30 years.
So he gets sentenced the rest of his life in prison.
And this is an interesting scene too, right after when his mother's just crying really loudly,
trying to stifle it.
Yeah. But then it cuts to Alexis's parents too, and just the emotions they have to feel too with the mother of their daughter's
they're
killer.
both losing a kid in a different way.
Yeah, exactly.
30 years
minimum.
No, life sentence. Yeah, 30. What do you say? 30 years.
He's up for parole.
You're eligible
he's
for
eligible for parole in 30 years,
which in itself is kind of a whole lifetime. I mean, so long.
Well, especially for parents too. They'll be old by the time.
Yeah. Ugh. Alexis's parents is there too.
They're also
there. They're there. It cuts to them as she's crying pretty loudly in there.
Emily's
and they're just hugging.
over at them.
Yeah.
I think the dad
and she just looks down at her feet and she bites her lip and
that's the end of that scene.
It's rough.
Yeah.
It's tight.
Stop. This cannot be a running gag.
What was because this whole this is obviously the climax of the movie as far as intensity. What was your reaction initially when you saw it the first time? Because I don't think I saw that coming to her dying and just this turn. Of
it was like
I didn't think it was going to happen that early. It was more where is it going to go from here now?
Right.
I didn't think there would be a change of main characters for sure.
Yeah.
So there was definitely is this going to be a prison movie now? I definitely didn't think it would just like move away from that
just
and
shift
back
to a
into
completely
life
different POV
of Emily.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Yeah, the transition is so sudden. You don't really have a whole lot of time to think about what where you think the movie's going. It just kind of happens after that.
Yeah, it just happens
to
you.
The next scene. What is the next scene after that?
The next thing, it's just no, it's okay. A lot of stuff just kind of happens. There's not a ton of plot points. It's more Emily's experiencing the grief of losing her brother and hating him for what he did. So
right.
She's just sad, kind of lonely in school.
If she was an outcast in school, she's even more of an outcast now.
Yeah, and we'll get into that later too.
Right.
Before she was kind of passively an outcast, now she's actively an outcast.
A dude we've seen Tyler wrestle before. He's
his training partner. Like whenever they're doing anything in practice, this is the guy that he pairs up with. Yeah.
He bumps into her briefly. We don't think anything of it at this point.
Other than, hey, that's Lucas
we
Hedges
saw that
from every other A24
from
movie.
3 billboards.
He's in 3 or 4 A24 movies.
Yeah, I know.
He's their guy.
He's in Lady Bird too, I think.
He's in mid-90s.
They made a sequel?
What?
You said Lady Bird 2.
God, I'm too tired for this. I am too tired for this nonsense. Anyways, no, it's okay. She's also going through Instagram posts of Tyler.
She's
like
looking
this morning post
and
just the comments about her
commenting,
brother.
Calling him a monster.
Oh yeah, I bet it's things like I bet he beat her all the time. Blah blah. Just things that hurt. Then she's sitting outside, kind of just.
They're doing the talent show stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
And then Luke.
Yeah.
His real name is Lucas, so I'm like trying to not. In this movie, it's Luke.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
His
the actor's movie. The actor's name.
The actor's movie.
Fuck.
Well, yeah. I think the actress for Alexis is her name was Alexa. I think.
Yes.
Not that that's important. That's just something.
It's just confusing.
It's not super important. Just confusing. Okay, but anyway, she's sitting on the bench, and
Luke comes up. He's like, the worst entry is like, hey, did I run into you earlier?
Like a few days ago.
Yeah. And it's just kind of a wholesome thing of like a first little reprieve from like, holy shit, for the last hour to just be like, okay,
they just get to have a cute little awkward conversation.
And he gives her a dum-dum, and he's like...
I don't know what flavor it is.
Yeah, and he's like, would you want to
go get some food?
Split a burger with me or some shit?
She says, like, you want to go get some food?
You want to go get some food?
Very awkward way of asking someone out, but,
He's wearing shorts and a long-sleeve button-up shirt. He's not the most socially competent kind of guy.
He's that dude.
But he's cool. And he's nice.
He's an adorable guy.
Yeah,
and
he's cute.
He's a cute guy.
Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
But yeah, so she's she's almost like kind of taken aback by
someone talking
her
to her.
experiencing this type of interaction after all that's happened, kind of like a normal life type of thing.
Yeah, I did. I guess that's not something I noticed. Was she did actually kind of have like a almost confused reaction to what's going on.
Yeah, we'll get to that when they have their food.
Yes.
Are they having lunch in the same diner as?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. It is the same diner.
In the same diner that the family had. There. Yeah.
During the second half, there's many parallels.
Yeah.
So, well, yeah. It's going back to the beginning.
It's almost like it's
Michael
cyclical. It's such a fun word, man. I love the structure. But anyways,
they go to the diner. They talk for a while. She admits to him that she's kind of been Instagram stalking him.
Yes,
and he says he tried, but he couldn't find her. And she tells him, "I deleted my Instagram." And he's like, "Why?"
She goes, "Why do you think?" He goes, "Well, I don't know. That's why I'm
like,
asking."
Do you know who my brother is? Yeah, you know what he did, and he's just, she's also probably just shocked that he comes off as not judgmental.
Yeah,
really,
he knows everything about what she's going through, and
he even
what her brother
more
did.
that unconditional
She
stuff
talks him
of just like
she even tells him about like people were sending me really mean messages and stuff like that. And he goes, he says like people can be assholes. Like he's just not. There's no judgment there at all.
Fuck them good. Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
And
F them real nice.
Okay.
Okay.
And I think she takes some comfort in that. She smiles.
Oh,
and
for sure.
They repeat that line a few times.
Oh yeah, he also compliments how beautiful he thinks
I
she
never
is.
asked out
exactly.
someone like you.
And you can see she's kind of taken by that as well. So
they're just the most wholesome pairing.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Yep. Really, just somehow that comment derailed everything.
You said it. No, you said it.
I
pal.
did say it.
And then after this is just a series of like fun dates and stuff.
Yeah, they go to see manatees.
Yeah.
And you could tell that he has like a much less. What?
Yeah. No, I'm just sorry. I'm tired and I'm thinking.
Okay.
Keep going.
Let's keep to thinking.
Don't mind me.
Well, you made a loud noise and hit the table.
Sorry.
I think it kind of starts to expose to her kind of the arbitrary pressure of her parents of like, we should go do this. She's like, oh, like, how are we going to do this? Like, we could just
do it.
Drive there.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Hold on. No, we are missing a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff?
Well, yeah. I mean, it does go back between. Oh gosh, this is something I wanted to point out. It's okay.
Do it then.
It's okay. This movie's just there's so many things.
Point
it's
it
hard
out.
to keep track of. We do get some. Oh, sorry. We do get some scenes where Emily is hanging out and she overhears her parents talking. We get some.
That's true.
Some parent scenes here because it's important to find out how they're doing after the tragedy. Not great. Really not. Great.
Some might say bad.
I can't remember if we actually hear. I think what we hear first is she just overhears them talking.
Yeah.
Which that I wanted to point out in the first half of the movie, there was another parallel going into your whole communication thing where the children, Tyler there was a scene where Tyler kind of overheard what they were saying after he broke his shoulder.
Yeah.
That's where this is interesting because the whole idea of lack of communication and not good communication exists there, where the parents reveal their appreciation for Tyler through the performance or whatever, but then he kind of hears what they actually have to say, not from them directly, but kind of
right,
through the door, through the wall or whatever. Emily has a similar experience where I think she overhears them talking about the tragedy.
Yes.
I don't remember exactly what they say.
They're talking about how they're relating to each other.
That's
anymore.
right. Oh, that's right. He's
saying
saying we're in this together.
Here.
You're not here. Things.
She's like, every time I look at you, I see him.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when they were, and that was the scene where they were actually talking with each other.
Yes.
And she just totally writes him up a new one.
Writes him up a new one.
Yeah. Yeah, it means she
but,
set him back.
I'm gonna write you a new asshole.
Sorry. She tells him, "You pushed Tyler."
Yeah,
you
were the one who pushed him.
Yeah,
blame shifting, going back and forth. His whole thing, Ron's whole thing is he's trying to keep the family together.
Yeah,
I think he literally says that.
Yeah, he does.
Ronald McDad.
We're in this together, which I found is an interesting parallel to Tyler with Alexis. We're in this together.
Ooh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, there were a lot of parallels between that relationship and Ronald's and Catherine's. I was gonna say Charlene.
That's not
even
close.
close to right. I saw the C. So yeah, no, family's in a tight spot, but Emily, on the other hand,
A rough spot.
or should I say a tight spot? We're in a tight spot. You look shocked.
Because we already made the joke, then you went back to the first thing you said.
But said it in a tone.
Guys, I am beyond exhausted.
Don't yell like that.
I'm sorry. I'll whisper.
Don't
whisper.
Just talking
What do you want from me?
a normal speaking voice.
Okay, that's fair enough. Shit, I forgot what I was going to say.
We were talking about
Good, someone else say
conversation.
something now. Someone
Okay, yeah.
start talking.
Well, yeah, she overhears that.
Yeah, go on with plot.
There, we get pretty much from that conversation that both the parents have been pretty distant.
Yep.
Catherine's kind of withdrawn into herself and is grieving in her own way, but that involves her kind of withdrawing from the whole world.
Yeah.
Oh,
find out
shoot.
later
I
that
did
she's
forget to
not-
say this.
What's that?
Before Luke comes and asks her out, there's another. I forgot to say this again. When backtracking quite a bit, when he's driving to the after party, Tyler, there's a shot of the sky in full storm, lightning, all that. Right before it cuts to him in the car driving to the after party.
Yeah.
Right before Luke asks her out, it cuts to the sky again, and there's clouds there, but they're clearing.
They're like passing.
Yeah.
I noticed that too.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And then, so after they do the diner date as well, the aspect ratio is no longer in 4:3, and it changes
so
back.
it starts to go back.
It's
to
reverting
It's
to
so
its,
It's this is where we really see a lot of the mirrored aspects.
Yeah.
Of
Yes.
Well,
the
'cause
film is structured because
with Tyler's half, it was getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and then
now it's
with
getting-
Emily's half,
it's
it goes more and more towards full screen.
Right,
and
right.
It eventually ends where it
I
started.
think that happens with the weather too. Actually, it
Yeah.
seems like
Yes.
again more parallel scenes that we can get to when we get there. So yeah, parents aren't doing great. Where are we at with plot?
Luke,
Luke
and
it's
Emily.
Luke. It's Luke. Yeah.
They're going on their fun dates now.
Yeah, they're going to see the
They're just, like,
manatees. They're
being
jumping
kids,
off
having fun.
trees and shit,
Yeah.
kayaking,
Jumping off trees and shit. Smoking trees.
Smoking
and shit.
Yeah.
weed,
Yeah.
doing mushrooms, hallucinogens.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was also a cool scene.
That was
because
cool.
it was a thunderstorm
Okay.
there too.
Let's just keep it
Sorry,
rolling a little
Cole
bit.
Cole wants to keep.
I think
the
we're
thing
way
going.
over. I can't see what time we're at right
we're just
now.
Oh,
But
it's
it's
okay. We're going. Hey, we're going. We
for
go. We
brevity's
get there
sake,
when
we
we get
might-
there.
we might miss a few things, but we'll keep going and get the themes out. So they go on their fun dates and stuff, and then they're talking in the car, and they're talking about their family lives, and she ends up asking him about his dad,
Yeah,
and he opens up and talks to her because they communicate,
they do.
and he says he was kind of a shitty dad, did some really horrible things to me and my mom, was drunk all the time, haven't seen him,
She's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." He's like, "He actually has cancer.
so
He's gonna die."
He deserves it. you know?
Yeah.
yeah. I
And
think-
he kind of goes into shutting down and pressing his emotions down, and she kind of recognizes that, I think, and that's why she kind of doesn't let him do that, and is
Yeah,
like, "Hey,
she's
you should
pushing the
actually
issue a little
go."
more.
Yeah, so I think that was another part of just kind of the communication stuff. Is I think she kind of recognized, like, even though he's like, "It's cool, he's gonna die, and I haven't seen him in this long, but it's fine," to where she can actually, where it's kind of all those points with Tyler, where people
that went unnoticed.
could see notice
Notice,
that
but
they could see
unaddressed.
something's up unaddressed. This is where she sees there's a thing wrong with him and actually like addresses it.
Yeah. Yeah. So they decide to go visit Luke's dad in the hospital. I forget.
She's in like Missouri.
Yeah, it's in Missouri.
Missouri,
So they
yeah.
go.
She convinces him to.
Yeah, she convinces him to.
In the bathtub.
The okay. Okay. You had to bring it up.
Okay. Fuck.
This
I don't even know where to start. Where do I start?
I'm sorry.
We don't see a wide shot of it because if
For
we
a
did,
reason.
we'd see how comically large the bathtub is.
Because first we see her face.
This bathtub looks like she's
She
alone.
just starts talking, and you're like, "Who's she talking to?" Oh, he's in there too.
He's on the other end of the
They
bathtub.
both look comfortable. In
Yeah,
it,
they
too.
both look stretched out. This bathtub canonically must be 12 feet long.
Do you guys think they were having sex yet?
Okay.
Stupid. I mean,
There's literally a scene addressing.
oh wait, was that before? Oh, that was before.
It doesn't matter. We don't need to
Oh,
talk
that's
about
right.
it because it's not that important.
Yeah, we gotta get through. We gotta get through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
Well,
comically large bathtub.
Sorry, keep going.
They start the road trip. He tells her basically make up any excuse to
Be gone for 2 days.
be
Yeah,
gone
whatever.
for a couple days. So they go to Missouri. They find his dad in the hospital, and he's ready to say goodbye. And he does. They reconnect. They have a good father-son hug.
Yes.
And the time goes on, and the nurse tells him he's not ready to go yet
Yeah.
because he's holding on to something.
And so that's when Luke has that talk with him about if he
Yeah.
has regrets and
Yeah, what are you
stuff.
holding on to?
And then if he doesn't, or if he does have regrets, obviously it's obviously what his regrets would be about. And Luke kind of has this moment of love with him and like forgiveness with him. And it really parallels Emily's thoughts of how her brother is this same type of unforgivable
Well,
monster.
Luke is hugging his dad in the same way that she was embracing him.
Yeah, it actually cuts back.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
that.
Oh, it does. Yeah, it does. And then she
I wish
starts
it
crying
didn't.
right there. I kind of.
It made me feel smart
no.
for figuring out that parallel, and then it just showed
No. Because the thing is, I feel like I don't feel like I needed that scene to figure out the parallel because I already saw so many other parallels.
What do you mean?
So the parallel between Emily and Tyler hugging, and then Luke and his dad hugging. You didn't like the fact that it was a flashback. Right?
No, I wish it would have just left it at her seeing it and reacting to it.
I also
Because
feel
I
that way
think
because I thought it was a little forced almost.
A little on the nose.
Because I don't think I needed that to figure out
It comes
the
across
parallel.
like a studio note where the
Exactly.
studio was like, oh, that was a
Put
little
it there.
unclear. Put in the flashback.
No, I agree. I felt
I
like
think-
that was pretty obvious that was.
But that's just a minor complaint.
I think it just showed her that the other person doesn't have to make it right to forgive them.
Yeah. You can forgive somebody both for your own good and for the good of just, I guess, the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and the other person. It can be,
And he does finally pass.
Yeah.
Luke's dad does. And he's grieving really hard because this just opened up a whole nother.
He cries
Yeah.
real hard.
He does. I mean,
It opened up old wounds that I think had scarred over.
Yeah,
but he
but
they're probably
had
going to
some-
heal
he
better
probably had
now
some
than if
healing from
he
even
just never got closure
yeah.
from that.
Mhm.
So I think she understands that it's important to forgive.
At that point, she also texts her.
Yeah, she texts her mom because they
who
find out
was
she's
freaking
not
out.
at her beach house like she lied
so
about.
If we could back up a little bit, there is an important scene that I think we should go over, where Ron takes her out fishing, where they connect. That because that did happen before they went to Missouri, right?
I think so.
That's an important scene.
I was going to bring that up later because I
don't think it matters when we bring it up, but I think we should bring it up now because that's a scene where Ron basically is attempting to connect with his daughter.
yes.
He gets that kind of lashing from his wife about how he had not been there for her.
Yeah.
And I think he realized that, and so he's opening up to her. He starts talking about how he's not doing well. He's like, "How have you been? I feel like I haven't seen you in forever." She's like, "I'm good, Dad. How are you doing?" And he's like, "It's been tough." And then
been hard.
Well, there's
Hasn't it?
also the first line
Just-
too of him letting down that conditional love of her saying, "I've been good." He's like, "Well, you know it's okay if you're not."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just like the first like development of him of always just like having this standard to hit.
And yeah, he opens up about how he's really sorry because he starts to break down too about how him and Catherine haven't been good.
Yeah.
And
He's like, "I'm
she-
sorry.
the business
everything-
won't
the
recover.
business is losing money.
I've got no one else to talk to about this." And then she affirms that
It's
she's
okay.
like, "He's like,
Yeah.
I'm glad you're sharing this stuff
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
communication, like you were saying earlier."
Yeah.
Great communication there.
Yeah,
that's
that's
really
where
this is just a good scene.
I think the family's starting to heal at that point, and they
Yeah, so
share
that
a really good
was-
hug.
at least her and the dad are. I think
Yes.
Catherine is still kind of in the.
Well,
she has
Catherine-
her own moment.
Yeah, she'll get her moment at the
yeah,
end. and
exactly.
The
we'll
only
talk
other
about
thing
that.
of this scene of Ronald is him sharing that verse of love again about
like your grandpa's
Yeah,
favorite
hatred
scriptures.
stirs up strife, but love covers all offenses.
Yeah.
All this anger begets more anger.
Okay. You read that off a bookmark?
Thank you. Finally, I'm getting some feedback from you, Cole. So that scene's important because then Catherine's freaking out when they do go to Missouri to see the dad because basically
I'm sure she's getting flashbacks from Tyler just disappearing.
I guess one little
Not
moment
knowing
where
where
they
he
didn't
is.
communicate exactly what was going on. But it's her and her dad. I feel like connected to the point where he was because he even texts her. He's like, "Hey, where are you? I just want you to know I trust you completely, but your mother is worried sick.
You gotta
Can you please come
tell her
can
where
you-"
you are. Come back
So
home.
she texts Catherine basically, "Hi, I'm sorry I didn't."
She goes
let you
through a
know,
couple
da, 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 da."
drafts of typing
Yeah.
things out
Yeah.
and then deleting it. Some of it's like, I want to be a family
She
again.
finally sends something after.
How they do
was it
phone shots
after
in this is
it
hard.
was that it was
to
I think
make out all
I don't
of what's
remember
said.
I think it was before Luke's dad died. It was the scene where they connected. And
It's
she had
right
the
after.
Yeah,
flashback.
because she has
had
to
the
go back
flashback,
out of the
then
room
she
for a while.
finally-
Yeah.
Yeah, she's crying because she had she was thinking about her and Tyler.
Was
Then
that one of her
she-
drafts? Okay, I guess it's not super
I don't
important.
think so. I think that's where she
Settled
that's where
on the
she
message to
settled
send.
it because she sent it.
Okay.
And then because it was like, I'll come home. I want us to be a family again, and I love you. I'm so thankful.
I think she finally sends it once they've left.
Yeah, I do too. It's
You
after he
think so?
dies.
Because that
Yeah,
was
just
a
right
draft?
after he dies.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one where she has to leave the room is when she's kind of angry and she's like, I just want to be a family again.
Oh,
and
I
she
think you're right.
deletes
No,
that.
I think you're right.
So
Yeah. But anyway, they leave after that. And
they leave,
drive home.
and this is the other. Yeah, the parallel couples wise is they're in a car and it does the revolving
Yes,
shot
exactly.
as it did in the
just
very
in the
beginning.
same. Yeah,
with
as
Tyler
the
and
first
Alexis.
scene.
And this is when the aspect ratio goes back to full screen.
Yes, as it was in the beginning. The camera's rotating around the same way as it does when Tyler and Alexis are in the car. The same as when Emily and Luke are in the car.
The colors.
The way
also,
That Tyler was driving in the opening scene stressed me out
Yeah.
immediately.
reckless.
His,
Also-
to say the least.
His whole okay, literally in my notes, I put the epitome of recklessness. His
Also-
leg is out the window.
Also, he's sticking his head out the window a lot for someone in an
A24
A24 movie.
Oh, that's right. All the
He is-
hereditary
yeah.
jokes.
For being a character in an A24 movie,
Yeah,
he tempts
there
fate
was a lot
multiple
of
times
that.
with sticking his head
There's
out the
a lot
window.
of that, man.
Okay. But let's kind of wrap up the synopsis and give our
so
closing
another
thoughts.
thing I don't know if we talked about a whole lot, but along with like the way it's shot, the frame, the frame and everything like that, the colors also. We talked about
It has a relatively consistent palette.
I don't know. I found the colors themselves to be consistent, but it was like so the beginning, very solid, bright, almost what's the word I'm looking for? Soft colors.
Well, the
almost.
camera changes.
Like
in
baby,
it.
you think like baby blue, bright yellow, stuff like that.
Yeah.
As the things start to spiral down, you get more neon colors. You get more neon.
I think it's pretty
darks.
neon from the opening. That scene in the
it-
car is pretty.
I didn't see that as so neon. It was just really like, or maybe it was. I don't know. It just seemed brighter, and maybe that could just be the frame it's full screen, and you're just taking that all in, and everything. When it gets tighter and tighter like that, you're just
rougher and rougher.
I can't even say that word now without.
Nope. You've ruined it.
I know.
You've ruined
but no, I certainly the colors I think were something that changed throughout the movie, and then they go back to that kind of brighter. Again, it's not necessarily bright. It's not the right word. It's softer. I think softer. Is the word
Okay.
I'm looking for. That's how I felt. There's
Okay.
more whole colors, softer, because the weather also changes. It just seemed more. It just seemed softer. Yeah.
The good thing about disagreements is one of us is right,
Or neither.
Fuck off.
or neither.
Maybe we're just both fucking colorblind.
Yeah, it's possible.
Anyways.
Yeah, this movie used a lot of the same red-green shade, just all the time.
Okay. Well, let's kind of wrap up the synopsis because I'm
Okay.
sure we're over the length of the movie, maybe.
Cole, you want to wrap up the synopsis?
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap up the synopsis.
Okay, so they drive back, and we see kind of where everybody's at this point.
The dad
Yeah.
pets the cat.
That's right.
Yeah, he pets the cat. We see him fishing by himself.
Yeah.
He sees Catherine in their son's room, Tyler, and that's the moment where she kind of is able to
let him in a little bit.
Yeah, and she actually
break
holds
down her
his
walls a little bit.
Because one thing we didn't mention, we mentioned the relationship got terrible.
Yeah, but she's
after
pulling away both physically and emotionally.
Physically and emotionally, but she pulls her hand away every time there's a shot directly on those.
Yeah.
Often, she finally is able to love him again.
I think that's a nice little visual thing that kind of implies that.
It is. And she's able to. I mean, move on. That's not really the words I'm looking for.
Move on.
That's what I'm saying.
Exist with it a little bit.
Yeah.
It doesn't overwhelm you.
It's not even the word I'm looking for. It's like she is willing to find love for Ron again, even though she kind of held him responsible. Love him unconditionally, if you will.
But I think the first person we see is Ron. He pets the cat.
Yeah.
We see him fishing by himself, and he's in church by himself now.
Yeah, he says amen.
Yeah.
It's a good solid amen.
And then Catherine, I think another moment where it shows she's
visiting.
Yeah, she
Tyler.
actually goes to visit Tyler in prison, and I think we see Tyler first.
You see Tyler dealing with bed, having the picture of Alexis,
dealing with the weight of what he's done.
Real quick, what did you think of that? I mean, I didn't think much other than
I think he's insanely guilty. He probably misses her.
He misses her, and he feels horrible. We don't really see him after that, do we?
No.
This is
the last scene is where he's eating
his 2
hot dogs with no bun.
He's eating his Oceanless Frank.
God.
He's just kind of looking around the room, but he's really lonely there.
Sitting by himself.
Doesn't have all of his friends hanging out with him anymore.
He's just morbidly alone, it seems.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then, we see Catherine drive up to the prison and go to the phone booth, and we don't see Tyler on the other end of the wall, I don't think. But
who else is she visiting?
No, I know. I'm just saying.
It just shows she's visiting someone.
It's a short.
So
it's a short, but nonetheless very important scene.
Yeah, I think it shows good things ahead for both of them.
Yep.
Even though, and something we forgot to mention too. I think when Emily's talking with her dad, she's talking about how much she hates him for what he did, how much she hates Tyler.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was just thinking of that.
And he has to just tell her he's a human being.
Yep.
Like
your brother's not a monster.
Yeah, he's not a monster. He did a really, really terrible thing, and
I think it was the second half of the movie that, I mean, obviously it's an easier half of the movie to watch. It really, I think, solidified that theme of unconditional love for me.
Yeah. Because
it was in this. That whole talk that Ron had with his daughter about, he's human. He's just. It was almost like you realized he had already gotten to the point where he forgave Tyler almost for what he did.
Yes.
Obviously, Emily
definitely come
there.
to terms with it.
I think the scene where she finally did was the scene where she saw Lucas.
Oh, absolutely.
And his father, because Lucas was able to unconditionally love his father again, despite all the things he did to her.
Yeah.
She was able to start loving Tyler again, despite all the things, the evils that she said.
Even though I think she's probably going to stay at a distance from him.
Of course.
I don't know.
I think
it's left vague if she's ever going to go visit him or what. But it ends on that same scene that I guess shot, not really seen, but of her riding her bike and kind of just breathing.
The same opening scene. Yeah.
And then the movie just kind of ends.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All is well in Florida.
No one has ever said that.
Well, any final thoughts before we dip this bad boy out?
No, I don't know. No, I feel like the themes were reinforced there. One more thing, just with again Catherine going to see him, she was able to find herself able to forgive him and unconditionally love him again. I found that I didn't think forgiveness was a huge theme in the movie. It was kind of
there's a couple things that reinforce that, but I wouldn't say
it was umbrellaed underneath this whole idea of love.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because communication goes there as well, and forgiveness, all these things that you kind of see. That's why I felt like that was a really good theme, at least for me personally, with this movie. Just how I experienced the movie, I think, is one thing. But
yeah, that makes sense.
It's just it if you use that, it's able to umbrella a lot of the other things they throw into the movie, and it acts. I mean, I want to talk about the structure a little bit more, because I really am going to write a sonata that's based off of this movie's structure. And I know it's you see, there's a lot of sonatas already written like this, especially with the concept of beginning how they end. Which I think is I just love that a lot, because it's almost it's a resolve that you return to, basically, and that's what this movie did exactly. I mean, it starts at this one point, goes to as low as you can get, basically, and then it mirrors itself, and then returns to that resolve almost. And I think that's just a beautiful thing, that you find in a lot of pieces of music actually as well.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I think that it's a really good movie that Shults put a lot of himself into, and
it's a very human movie.
Oh yeah, no, I think that's kind of what he wanted to focus on, was a lot of the humanism in it. And yeah, well,
I don't really have anything else. Nope.
Are you guys proud of me?
I am.
In what way?
Yeah,
I
am
proud of you.
Because I told you I am going to use it tastefully. In fact, most of the time, you probably forget that I even have this thing, man.
It will probably last much longer than I anticipated.
Since you never demonstrated what it is, no one knows what we're talking about.
Should I do it?
Just do it.
Just do it so people know.
There's a button that does this when pressed.
I don't want to, though.
Fuck up. I can't.
It'll keep them coming back.
No, it will. It makes me want to leave, and I'm the host.
You guys, no one's going to get it. No one's going to get it tonight.
Okay.
It's a button that says no.
In a million different ways. It's really horrible, and I hate it. And you'll probably hear it get smashed.
You'll probably hear the audio.
If that happens,
I will smash it on air.
There will be other things that happen on set. Anyways.
On set? We do not have a set. We have a table.
We have a kitchen.
It's set enough. It's a kitchen.
Okay.
It's our Papa Flocka's kitchen. Did you not like that?
That's fine.
Well,
this has been Theme and Variation. We will see you all.
Theme and Variation.
We will see you. I'm sorry.
We'll see you guys next week.